Hey everyone, I'm the storyteller, and I'm here to help you relax tonight. I know a lot of you use this video to fall asleep, so before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, tell me in the comments, where are you from and what time is it there? Now get comfortable, take a deep breath, and just relax. The mall security guard. I've been working as a security guard at Westfield Mall for about 6 months now. Most people think mall security is a joke job. You know, just walking around telling teenagers to stop loitering. But let me tell you something. The night shift is a completely different world. Last month I had an experience that made me question everything I thought I knew about this job. It was a Thursday night around 2 a.m. The mall had been closed since 10 p.m. I was doing my regular rounds, checking all the storefronts, making sure no alarms were going off, looking for any signs of break-ins. Just the usual stuff. The mall at night is eerily quiet. During the day it's packed with thousands of people. But at night it's just me and the emergency lights. The sound of my footsteps echoes through the empty corridors. Sometimes I hear the hum of the escalators that we leave running, or the buzz of the fluorescent lights. But that night something was different. I was walking past the food court when I heard it. Music. Not loud music, but soft, like someone was playing it from a phone. I stopped walking and listened. It was coming from somewhere in the food court. Now let me explain something. Nobody should be in the mall at this hour except me. All the restaurant workers leave by 11 p.m. latest. The cleaning crew finishes by midnight. After that it's just me until 6 a.m. I walked into the food court shining my flashlight around. The music got a little louder. It sounded like some old song from the 80s. I couldn't quite place it. All the restaurant gates were down and locked. I checked each one. Subway locked. McDonald's locked. Panda Express locked. Everything was secure. But the music kept playing. I followed the sound to the center of the food court. There's a big seating area there with about 50 tables. That's when I saw it. One of the tables had a tray on it. A food tray with what looked like fresh food. Steam was actually rising from it. I walked closer, my hand on my radio ready to call for backup. On the tray was a burger and fries. The fries were still hot. I could smell them. Next to the tray was an old flip phone. The music was coming from the phone. I looked around the food court again. Nobody there. I picked up the phone and the music stopped. The screen showed one missed call from a number I didn't recognize. I put the phone down and radioed the main security office. "Hey Jim, you there?" I said. Static. "Jim, this is Mike in the food court, come in." More static. That was weird. Jim always answered. He was working the monitor room tonight, watching all the cameras. I decided to check the restaurants again. Maybe someone was hiding in one of them. I went to each gate and shined my light inside. Everything looked normal. When I came back to the table, the tray was gone. The phone was gone too. Just an empty table. My heart started racing. I'd only been gone for maybe 2 minutes. I radioed Jim again. "Jim, I need you to check the cameras in the food court right now." Finally his voice came through. "Mike, what's wrong, man? Just check the cameras. Did you see anyone in here?" "Hold on, let me look." I waited. "Nah man, food court's been empty all night." "You sure checked the last 10 minutes?" "I'm looking at it right now, Mike. Nobody's been in there but you." I didn't know what to say. I knew what I saw. That food was real. I could still smell the fries in the air. "You okay, Mike?" Jim asked. Yeah, I'm fine, just thought I saw something." I left the food court and continued my rounds. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. Every shadow seemed to move. Every sound made me jump. Around 3 a.m. I was checking the second floor near the department stores. That's when I heard footsteps. Not my footsteps. Someone else's. They were coming from behind me. I turned around fast. Nobody there. The footsteps stopped. I stood still for a minute listening. Nothing. I started walking again. The footsteps started again. I spun around. Still nobody. "Who's there?" I called out. My voice echoed through the empty mall. No answer. I decided to test something. I took 3 quick steps forward. Behind me, 3 quick footsteps. I stopped. They stopped. My hands were shaking now. I radioed Jim again. "Jim, I need you to check all the entrances, make sure nobody got in." "Already did, Mike. All doors are secure. What's going on?" "I think someone's in here with me." "Want me to come down there?" "No, stay on the cameras, watch my location." I started walking faster. The footsteps behind me matched my pace. I broke into a run. The footsteps ran too. I made it to the security office and slammed the door behind me. My heart was pounding. I looked at the monitors. Jim was right. The cameras showed the mall was empty, but I knew those footsteps were real. I stayed in the office for an hour. Finally, I had to go back out. I still had rounds to finish. The rest of the night was quiet. No music, no footsteps, no mysterious food trays. When my shift ended at 6 a.m., I was exhausted. I went home and tried to sleep but couldn't. I kept thinking about that night. The next night I came back to work. Jim pulled me aside. "Hey Mike, about last night?" "Yeah. I need to show you something." He led me to the monitor room. I was reviewing the footage from last night and I found something weird. He pulled up the food court footage. "Watch this." On the screen I saw myself walking into the food court. I saw myself approach the table, but there was no tray, no phone. I was standing at an empty table talking to nobody. "That's impossible," I said. "There's more." He switched to the second floor footage. I saw myself running down the corridor. Nobody was behind me. I was running from nothing. "Mike, are you feeling okay, man? Maybe you should take a few days off." I didn't take time off. I needed this job. But things got worse. Every night I heard things, saw things. A store gate half open that I knew I had checked. Mannequins that seemed to be in different positions. Cleaning carts that moved on their own. And always the feeling of being watched. I started carrying a second flashlight. Started checking every corner twice. Started documenting everything with my phone. But my phone would glitch out. Videos would come out corrupted. Photos would be black. One night about a week later I was near the electronics store. All the TVs in the window display turned on at once. Static on every screen. Then they started showing security footage of me walking through the mall. But I wasn't alone in the footage. There was someone walking next to me. A dark figure I couldn't make out. In the footage I was talking to this figure. Laughing even. But I remembered that night. I was alone. The TV shut off. I ran to the security office. I told Jim everything. He looked at me with pity. "Mike, there's something I need to tell you." "What?" "The other guards have been talking." "About what?" "About you, man. They say you've been acting strange, talking to yourself during shifts." "That's not true." "Mike, I've seen it on the cameras. You walk around having full conversations with nobody." I quit that night. Walked out and never came back. But here's the thing. I know what I experienced was real. The food, the music, the footsteps. Was all real. I don't care what the cameras showed. Sometimes late at night I drive by the mall. I park in the empty lot and look at the building. And I swear, I can see someone in the windows, walking around, doing their rounds. Sometimes I think it's me. Sometimes I think I never left. The overnight stalker. Working overnight at a grocery store isn't glamorous, but it pays the bills. I started at Fresh Mart about a year ago. The job is simple enough. Stock shelves while the store is closed. Clean up the aisles. Make everything look perfect for the morning customers. I actually liked it at first. No customers to deal with. Just me, my headphones, and boxes of products. The overnight crew was small. Usually just 4 or 5 of us. We'd work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Everyone had their own section. Mine was the cereal and snack aisle. Aisle 7. What happened 3 weeks ago still gives me nightmares. It was a Tuesday night. I got to work at my usual time. Clocked and put on my apron, grabbed my box cutter. The store was already closed. The lights were dimmed to save energy. We only kept the main lights on in the aisles we were working. I headed to the back to get my first pallet of boxes. That's when I noticed we were short-staffed. "Where is everyone?" I asked Carlos, who worked in produce. "Maria called in sick and I think Derek quit. So it's just us." "Yeah, and Brenda and Derry." 3 people to stock an entire store. It was going to be a long night. I pulled my pallet to aisle 7 and started working. Open box, check date, stock shelf, repeat. I had my routine down. About an hour into my shift I noticed something odd. A box of cereal on the shelf was turned backwards. The back of the box facing out. I fixed it and kept working. 20 minutes later 2 more boxes were backwards. Different shelf, different cereal brand. That was weird. I fixed those too. I finished that pallet and went to get another. When I came back to aisle 7 my heart dropped. Every single box on the shelf was turned backwards. Every single one. Hundreds of boxes, all facing the wrong way. "Very funny, Carlos," I called out. No answer. I walked to produce. Carlos wasn't there. I checked dairy. Brenda was stocking yogurt. Hey Brenda, you seen Carlos? Not for a while, why? Someone's messing with my aisle. Probably just bored. Carlos loves his pranks. I went back to aisle 7. I spent 45 minutes fixing all the boxes. Then I continued stocking. I was angry now. This wasn't funny anymore. Around 2 a.m. I was halfway done with my second pallet. That's when I heard it. A shopping cart. Rolling down an aisle. The wheels squeaked as it moved. But here's the thing. We don't use shopping carts overnight. We use pallets and flatbeds. The squeaking got closer. It was coming down aisle 6, right next to mine. I peeked around the corner. The shopping cart was rolling by itself. Nobody pushing it. Just rolling slowly down the aisle. It stopped at the end of aisle 6. Then it turned towards my aisle. I backed up. The cart rolled into aisle 7. Stopped right in front of me. Inside the cart was a single item. A box of cereal. The same brand I'd been stocking. But this box was old. The design was different. Like from the 90s maybe. I picked it up. The expiration date was from 1997. Okay Carlos, this isn't funny anymore. My voice echoed in the empty store. The cart started rolling again. Away from me. Down to the other end of the aisle. I followed it. It turned the corner and disappeared. I ran after it. When I turned the corner, the cart was gone. Vanished. I stood there confused. Then I heard my name. David. Came from the store speakers. The ones they use for announcements during the day. David, come to aisle 7. That wasn't Carlos. Or Brenda. I didn't recognize the voice. David, clean up on aisle 7. I walked back to my aisle. My blood went cold. Every product I had stocked was on the floor. Boxes everywhere. Bags of chips scattered. Candy bars thrown around. Hours of work destroyed. What the hell? I radioed for Carlos and Brenda. No answer from either. I tried the office phone. Dead. I was starting to panic. I left the mess and went looking for my co-workers. Produce section empty. Dairy section empty. I checked the break room, the bathrooms, the back room. Nobody. I was alone in the store. Or was I? I heard footsteps in the next aisle. Carlos, Brenda. The footsteps stopped. I went to the aisle. Nobody there. But all the soup cans were stacked in a pyramid. A perfect pyramid in the middle of the aisle. That would have taken time to build. I backed away. More footsteps. Running this time. I turned around. A figure at the end of the aisle. Too dark to see clearly. It ran to the next aisle. I chased after it. Empty. Where did it go? The lights started flickering. Then they went out completely. Emergency lighting kicked in. Dim red lights, barely enough to see. I made my way to the front of the store. The automatic doors were locked. I pulled, pushed, nothing. I was trapped. Behind me a crash. Like a whole shelf falling over. I turned around. In the dim red light I could see him. A man in an old Fresh Mart uniform. Standing by the registers. But something was wrong with him. His face was pale. His eyes were dark hollows. He smiled. Clean up on aisle 7, he said. His voice was the one from the speakers. I ran. I didn't care where. Just away from him. I could hear him following. Not running. Walking. Slow, steady steps. I hid in the storage room. Crouched behind boxes. The door opened. Those slow steps came in. David. He was looking for me. You're not finished with aisle 7. I held my breath. The steps got closer. Then stopped. Right on the other side of the boxes. Found you. I burst out and ran. He laughed. Not a normal laugh. Something wrong with it. I made it to the loading dock. The big door was locked too. But there was an emergency exit. I hit the bar. The alarm screamed. The door opened. I ran into the parking lot. I didn't stop until I reached my car. I drove home and called the store manager. Told him I was sick, couldn't finish my shift. The next day he called me. David, what happened last night? What do you mean? The store is a mess, products everywhere. I don't know, I left early, remember? Carlos and Brenda said they never saw you. What, they were gone when I looked for them? David, they said you never showed up. That's impossible, I was there. The time clock shows you never clocked in. I knew I clocked in. I remembered doing it. I drove back to the store that afternoon. I needed to prove I was there. The manager showed me the time records. My name wasn't there. He showed me the security footage. I wasn't in it. According to everyone and everything, I was never there that night. But I was. I know I was. I quit that day. Didn't even give notice. Just left. Sometimes I drive by Fresh Mart at night. I park across the street and watch. And sometimes, just sometimes, I see someone in aisle 7, stocking cereal, turning all the boxes backwards. And I wonder, am I looking at him? Or am I looking at me? The hotel night auditor. My name is Sarah and I used to work the night shift at the Grand Harbor Hotel. It wasn't a fancy place, just a regular business hotel near the airport. The kind where people stay for one night between flights. The night auditor job was perfect for me. 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Usually quiet. I could study for my online classes, answer the occasional phone call, check in the rare late arrival. Easy money. Or so I thought. What happened last month made me quit not just the job, but the whole hotel industry. It was a Wednesday night in October. I arrived for my shift at 10:45 p.m. Janet, the evening clerk, was ready to go home. Anything I should know about, I asked. Pretty quiet night, we're only at 40% capacity. Any problem, guest? No, everyone's been fine. Room 237 complained about noise, but I moved them. Okay, have a good night. Janet left and I settled in behind the desk. The first few hours were normal. I checked in 2 late arrivals, answered a few calls, did some homework. Around 2 a.m. things got weird. The phone rang. I picked up. Front desk, this is Sarah. Breathing. Heavy breathing. Hello, can I help you? More breathing than a whisper. Come to room 237. The line went dead. Room 237. That was the room Janet had moved someone from. According to the system, it was empty. I called the room. No answer. I figured it was a prank. Maybe some drunk guest. I went back to my homework. 15 minutes later, the phone rang again. Front desk. Room 237 needs you. Same whispery voice. Sir, room 237 is vacant. No, I'm in room 237, come help me. What do you need help with? The line went dead again. I checked the system again. Room 237 was definitely empty. Had been all day. I decided to ignore it. But the calls kept coming. Every 15 minutes. Same voice. Same request. Come to room 237. After the 5th call, I'd had enough. I put the night bell on the desk, grabbed the master key, and headed to the 2nd floor. The hallway was dimly lit. Half the lights were on energy-saving mode. Room 237 was at the end of the hall. I stood outside the door. No sounds from inside. I knocked. Maintenance. No answer. I used my master key and opened the door. The room was dark. I flipped the light switch. Nothing. The lights didn't work. I used my phone flashlight. The room was empty. Bed made. Everything in place. But cold. Really cold. Like they'd left the AC on full blast. I checked the thermostat. It was off. I was about to leave when I noticed the bathroom door. It was slightly open. A sliver of darkness beyond. Hello, anyone here? Silence. I pushed the bathroom door open. My flashlight beam swept across the small space. Empty. But the mirror. There was something written on the mirror. In what looked like steam. Like someone had breathed on it. Help me. I backed out of the room fast. Locked the door behind me. Practically ran back to the front desk. My hands were shaking. I tried to convince myself it was a prank. Some guest messing with me. The phone rang. I didn't want to answer it. But it was my job. Front desk. You came, thank you. Who is this? I'm stuck. Stuck where? In room 237. There's nobody in room 237, I just checked. I'm always in room 237. I hung up. The phone rang immediately. I didn't answer. It kept ringing, and ringing, and ringing. I finally unplugged it. Then the elevator dinged. Someone was coming down. The doors opened. Nobody stepped out. The elevator just sat there. Doors open. Empty. Waiting. Then the doors closed, and the elevator went back up to the 2nd floor. I watched the numbers. 2. The doors opened. I could see it on the security monitor. Still nobody there. Then I noticed something on the monitor. A shadow. Moving down the 2nd floor hallway. Towards room 237. I zoomed in. It was hard to make out. The figure stopped at room 237 and walked through the door. Through it, like the door wasn't there. My heart was pounding. I called my manager at home. No answer. I called security. We didn't have overnight security. I was alone. The computer at the desk chimed. A new reservation had come in. For room 237. The name on the reservation was mine. Sarah Williams. Check-in date October 15, 1987. That was before I was even born. I deleted the reservation. Popped back up. I deleted it again. Came back. The elevator dinged again. This time I didn't look. I heard footsteps in the lobby. Slow. Deliberate. Coming towards the desk. I kept my eyes on the computer screen. The footsteps stopped right in front of the desk. I'd like to check in. I looked up. Nobody there. But I could feel someone. Presence. Cold air. That smell like old flowers. Room 237, please. The voice was right in front of me. I reached for the phone to call 911. It was dead. Still unplugged. I plugged it back in. Still dead. My cell phone. No signal. The computer screen flickered. A message popped up. Check me in. Then another. I've been waiting. And another. So long. The messages kept coming. Filling the screen. Check me in, check me in, check me in. I ran. Left everything. My purse, my homework, my job. I ran out the front doors. To my car. Drove home. Didn't look back. The next day my manager called. Sarah, where did you go last night? I'm sorry, I quit. Quit? What are you talking about? I can't work there anymore. Sarah, what happened? I tried to explain. He didn't believe me. Said I must have fallen asleep. Had a nightmare. But I knew better. I went back a week later during the day to get my last paycheck. I asked the day clerk about room 237. Oh, that room, she said. What about it? We don't usually rent that one out. Why not? She looked around, then leaned in. People complain about it being cold no matter what we do with the heat. Anything else? Well, I shouldn't say, but... What? Sometimes guests report seeing things. What kind of things? A woman in old-fashioned clothes standing by the bed. Has anyone ever looked into it? The manager doesn't like us talking about it. I never went back. But sometimes I Google the hotel. Look for reviews. And every once in a while, I find one. Someone complaining about room 237. About the cold. About the woman. About the phone calls in the middle of the night. And I know. She's still there. Still waiting. Still trying to check in. And I wonder, what would have happened if I had given her a key? The midnight gym. The security cameras at Iron Valley Fitness never recorded what happened after midnight, and nobody ever questioned why. Sarah Mitchell had been working as a night cleaner at the gym for 3 months when she first noticed the strange sounds coming from the weight room at exactly 12:03 a.m. each night, always the same metallic clanking followed by heavy breathing that seemed to echo from nowhere and everywhere at once. She told herself it was just the old building settling, the pipes groaning, or maybe the air conditioning system playing tricks on her mind, but deep down she knew something was wrong because the sounds only happened when she was alone, never when her supervisor Dave made his rounds at 11:30 p.m. The gym had been built in 1987 on the site of an old factory where workers once toiled in dangerous conditions, and though nobody talked about it, everyone who worked there knew that 3 people had died in accidents during the gym's construction, their bodies never properly recovered from the collapsed basement section that was simply sealed off and forgotten. Sarah had always been practical, the kind of person who didn't believe in ghosts or supernatural nonsense, but as she pushed her cleaning cart through the dimly lit corridors each night, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched by eyes that held a hunger that went beyond the grave. The first time she saw the shadow moving between the exercise machines, she convinced herself it was just her own reflection in the mirrors that lined every wall. But when she turned on all the lights and the shadow continued to move independently, she realized that Iron Valley Fitness held secrets that the living were never meant to discover. Each night the phenomena grew stronger, starting with whispered voices that seemed to call her name from the empty locker rooms, then progressing to the sight of exercise equipment moving on its own, weights lifting and falling in perfect rhythm as if invisible hands were desperately trying to complete one final workout. Sarah noticed that the temperature always dropped exactly 15 degrees whenever she entered the weight room, and her breath would fog in the air while frost formed on the metal barbells, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that made her skin crawl with a cold that penetrated deeper than any winter night she had ever experienced. The gym's membership files, which she discovered while cleaning the office one night, revealed a disturbing pattern of people joining with great enthusiasm only to disappear after exactly 47 days, their memberships mysteriously canceled with no forwarding address and no record of them ever existing anywhere else in the city. When Sarah tried to research these missing members online, she found that their social media profiles had been deleted, their photos scrubbed from the internet, and their names appeared nowhere in public records, as if they had been completely erased from existence by some force that wanted to hide the truth about what really happened at Iron Valley Fitness. The breakthrough came when she found an old newspaper clipping hidden behind a loose tile in the basement, dated February 14, 1987, with a headline that read, "Factory workers trapped in Valentine's Day collapse, bodies never recovered." And as she read the article by flashlight, she learned that the 3 men who died had been fitness enthusiasts who always worked out together after their factory shifts ended, their bodies crushed when the ground gave way during the gym's foundation excavation. The article mentioned that the workers had made a pact to never miss a workout, swearing to each other that nothing, not even death, would keep them from their fitness routine, and now Sarah understood why the sounds always started at 12:03 a.m., exactly 47 minutes after their old factory shift would have ended at 11:16 p.m. As she stood in the basement reading by the dim light of her phone's flashlight, Sarah felt the temperature plummet and heard the familiar sound of weights clanking above her. But this time the sounds were different, more urgent, as if the spirits were trying to communicate something important rather than simply going through their eternal workout routine. She climbed the stairs slowly, her heart pounding but her curiosity overcoming her fear, and when she reached the weight room she saw them clearly for the first time, 3 translucent figures in old work clothes lifting barbells that flickered between solid metal and ghostly light, their faces showing a mix of determination and desperate sadness that made her understand they weren't malevolent spirits but trapped souls who couldn't move on. The tallest ghost, a man with kind eyes and calloused hands, turned to look at Sarah and mouthed the words, "Help us," and she realized that the missing gym members hadn't been killed or taken away, but had somehow been absorbed into the same supernatural loop that kept the 3 factory workers bound to this place, forced to work out for eternity without ever achieving the peace they sought. Sarah spent the next week researching every missing person case connected to the gym, and she discovered that each disappeared member had been struggling with some form of personal demon, using exercise as their escape from depression, anxiety, or trauma, and the gym had somehow become a magnet for lost souls who were drawn to the idea of working away their pain forever. The spirits weren't evil, Sarah realized, but they were incredibly lonely, and they had been pulling vulnerable people into their otherworldly dimension because they desperately wanted companions who understood their need to find peace through physical exertion, not realizing that they were trapping these people in the same endless cycle that had consumed them for over 30 years. On the night she decided to help them, Sarah brought a small bouquet of flowers and a handwritten note explaining that she understood their pain but that holding on to others wouldn't heal their trauma, that true peace could only come from letting go and accepting that their earthly workout was complete. She placed these items on the weight bench where the sounds were always strongest, and as midnight approached, she spoke aloud to the empty gym, telling the spirits that they had been strong enough in life and death, that their bodies and souls had worked hard enough, and that it was time to rest and find the eternal peace that no amount of exercise could provide them. The temperature in the room began to rise slowly, and the 3 ghostly figures appeared one final time, looking directly at Sarah with expressions of gratitude and relief. And as they faded away, she heard a sound like a deep, satisfied sigh echoing through the building, followed by the most profound silence she had ever experienced. The missing gym members began returning over the next few weeks, appearing confused in their own homes with no memory of where they had been, but all of them reported having the most restful sleep of their lives and a strange sense that they no longer needed to punish themselves with excessive exercise to feel worthy of happiness. Sarah continued working at Iron Valley Fitness, but the building felt different now, lighter somehow, and the security cameras began recording normally again, showing nothing more unusual than an occasional mouse or the shadow of clouds passing over the skylights. She kept the newspaper clipping as a reminder that sometimes the most frightening mysteries have the simplest solutions, that troubled spirits, like troubled people, often just need someone to listen with compassion and remind them that they are already enough, that their struggles have meaning, and that peace is always possible when we learn to forgive ourselves and let go of the weights we were never meant to carry forever. The mirror's truth. The mirrors at Westfield Gym showed things that weren't really there. Emma Thompson first noticed it on a quiet Tuesday evening in November. She was alone in the fitness center, doing her usual late-night routine. The gym stayed open 24 hours, but most people avoided the midnight shift. Emma preferred the solitude, the peaceful silence of empty exercise machines. She had been coming here for 6 months, ever since moving to the small town of Millbrook. The gym was old but well maintained, with polished floors and gleaming equipment. But it was the mirrors that made the place special. They covered every wall, reflecting the space endlessly in all directions. Emma loved watching her form as she exercised, checking her technique carefully. Tonight felt different though, as she began her warm-up stretches. The fluorescent lights hummed softly overhead, casting their usual harsh glow. But in the corner of her eye, she saw a movement that shouldn't have been there. A figure in the mirror was stretching alongside her. Emma turned quickly but found herself completely alone. She shook her head and returned to her routine, telling herself it was just fatigue. The treadmill belt moved smoothly beneath her feet as she began to run. In the mirror ahead, she watched her steady pace and breathing. But there was someone running beside her in the reflection. A woman with dark hair and old-fashioned workout clothes. Emma stopped the machine abruptly and spun around. The gym was empty, silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. She approached the mirror slowly, her heart beating faster than before. Her own reflection stared back, pale and confused. But for just a moment, she could swear she saw another face beside hers. The next night, Emma returned with a mixture of fear and curiosity. She had researched the gym's history online during her lunch break. Westfield Gym had been built in 1994 on the site of an old dance studio. The dance studio had burned down in 1982, killing the owner, Margaret Willis. Margaret had been alone that night, practicing for a recital that would never happen. Her body was found near the mirrors, which had somehow survived the fire intact. The mirrors had been salvaged and installed in the new gym. Emma felt a chill as she read about Margaret's dedication to perfection. She had been known for practicing alone for hours, obsessed with her reflection. Tonight, Emma started with light weights, watching herself carefully. The mirrors showed her every movement, every muscle working in harmony. But slowly, other reflections began to appear alongside her own. Men and women in workout clothes from different decades. Some wore leg warmers and headbands from the 80s. Others had modern athletic wear but moved with strange, jerky motions. Emma realized these weren't random ghosts, but people who had exercised here obsessively. People who had stared into these mirrors for so many hours they had become trapped. The dance studio mirrors had absorbed Margaret's spirit first. Then year after year they had collected others who shared her obsession. Emma watched in fascination as the ghostly figures mimicked her movements. They seemed unaware of each other, each lost in their own eternal workout. A man from the 90s lifted weights that cast no shadow. A woman from the 70s performed aerobics moves in perfect silence. They all stared into the mirrors with the same desperate intensity. Emma understood that they were seeking something they would never find. The perfect body, the perfect form, the perfect version of themselves. But the mirrors only showed them their flaws, their endless need for improvement. She began to visit the gym every night, studying these trapped souls. Each had their own story, their own reason for being there. The businessman who died of a heart attack while running at midnight. The college student who collapsed from exhaustion after exercising for 18 hours straight. The elderly woman who had a stroke while trying to lift weights too heavy for her age. All of them had been alone when they died, with only the mirrors as witnesses. Emma realized she was in danger of joining them if she wasn't careful. She had already begun coming to the gym every single night. She found herself staying later and later, watching the ghostly reflections. The mirrors were beautiful and hypnotic, showing her every flaw that needed fixing. Her thighs could be thinner, her arms more defined, her stomach flatter. The ghostly figures seemed to encourage her, nodding when she pushed harder. But Emma noticed something the spirits couldn't see about themselves. They were already perfect in their own way, even in death. The businessman had a kind face and gentle movements. The student moved with natural grace despite her obsessive behavior. The elderly woman showed remarkable courage in her attempts to stay strong. Each ghost was beautiful, but they couldn't see it in the mirrors. The mirrors only reflected their fears and insecurities, never their true worth. Emma decided she had to break the cycle somehow. She brought a small hammer to the gym one night. But as she raised it toward the nearest mirror, Margaret Willis appeared clearly. The dance studio owner looked exactly as she had in old photographs. She was beautiful and talented, but her eyes held infinite sadness. Margaret shook her head slowly, warning Emma away from the mirrors. She pointed to herself, then to the other spirits, then to Emma. The message was clear: destroying the mirrors wouldn't free them. They were trapped by their own minds, not by the glass itself. Emma realized that the mirrors were just tools reflecting inner truth. The real prison was the belief that they weren't good enough as they were. She began speaking to the mirrors each night, addressing the spirits directly. She told them they were beautiful, that their worth wasn't measured in muscle or curves. She praised the businessman's dedication to his health. She admired the student's determination and drive. She honored the elderly woman's refusal to give up on her strength. Slowly, the spirits began to look at Emma instead of their own reflections. For the first time in decades, they saw themselves through someone else's eyes. Eyes that saw their beauty, their courage, their human worth. One by one, they began to smile and fade away peacefully. The businessman was first, giving Emma a grateful nod before disappearing. The student waved goodbye with tears of joy in her ghostly eyes. The elderly woman blew Emma a kiss before dissolving into sparkles of light. Margaret Willis was the last to go, having been trapped the longest. She approached Emma's reflection in the mirror and mouthed, "Thank you." Then she performed one final, perfect dance move and vanished forever. The mirrors now showed only Emma's reflection, clear and true. But more importantly, Emma saw herself differently now. She saw a young woman who was already complete, already worthy. Someone who didn't need to be perfect to be valuable. Emma continued visiting the gym, but with a healthier mindset. She exercised for strength and joy, not for punishment or perfection. The mirrors became her allies instead of her judges. They reflected her confidence, her happiness, her genuine smile. Other gym members began to notice Emma's positive energy. She started encouraging newcomers and helping those who seemed obsessed. The gym became a place of community and support rather than isolated struggle. And late at night, when Emma was alone with the mirrors, she sometimes whispered words of kindness to her reflection, because she had learned that the most important voice we hear is our own. And that voice should always speak with love, never with cruelty. The mirrors at Westfield Gym now show only the truth, not the harsh truth of perceived flaws and failings, but the gentle truth of human worth and infinite potential. Emma made sure of that, one kind word at a time. The high school weight room. I'm 32 now, but I still can't walk into a gym without thinking about what happened when I was 16. Back in high school I was skinny. Really skinny. Like 120 pounds soaking wet kind of skinny. All the other guys were getting bigger and stronger. I was still built like a middle schooler. So I started going to the school weight room after classes. Our high school had this old weight room in the basement. It used to be a bomb shelter in the 50s. They converted it in the 80s, put in some benches and squat racks. The ceiling was low. The air was always musty, and there was only one way in or out. I usually went around 5 p.m., after most kids had gone home, but before the janitors locked up at 7. This particular day was a Thursday in November. I remember because we just had a half day for parent-teacher conferences, so I got to the weight room earlier than usual, around 3:30. The place was empty. Perfect. I hated working out when other kids were around. They'd always stare at my pathetic attempts to bench press. I warmed up on the treadmill, did some stretches, then headed to the bench press. I loaded up the bar with my usual weight, 95 pounds. Not much, but it was heavy for me back then. I lay down on the bench, gripped the bar, lifted it off the rack, started my first set. That's when I heard the door, that heavy metal door that led to the stairs. It creaked open, then slammed shut. "Hello," I called out. No answer. I figured it was just another student, maybe someone shy like me. I continued my set. 5 reps, 6 reps, 7 reps. My arms were shaking. 8 reps. That's when I saw him. In the mirror on the wall. Someone was standing behind me, right behind the bench. I couldn't see his face, just a dark figure. I tried to rack the weight, but my arms gave out. The bar came down on my chest, not hard enough to hurt me, but I couldn't push it back up. I was pinned. "Hey, help," I said. The figure didn't move. "Please, I'm stuck." Still nothing. I turned my head to look directly at him. Nobody there. But in the mirror, he was still there, standing, watching. I panicked, used all my strength to roll the bar down my body. It hurt. Left bruises on my ribs and stomach. But I got free. I jumped up and spun around. The weight room was empty. I looked at the mirror again. Nothing. Just me. Alone. My heart was racing. I grabbed my stuff to leave, but the door wouldn't open. I pulled and pulled. It was locked. From the outside. That was impossible. The door didn't lock from the outside, only from the inside. I banged on it. "Hey, someone let me out." My voice echoed in the small space. I checked my phone. No signal. Of course, we were in a basement. I went back to the main area. Maybe there was another way out. An emergency exit I'd never noticed. That's when I saw the weights moving. Not all of them, just the dumbbells on the rack. They were vibrating, rattling against each other, making this metallic humming sound. Then one fell, a 25-pounder, hit the rubber floor with a thud. Then another, and another. They weren't just falling, they were rolling towards me. I backed up against the wall. The dumbbells kept coming, more falling off the rack, all rolling in my direction, like magnets drawn to me. I climbed onto one of the benches. The weights surrounded it, formed a circle. The rattling got louder. The whole room seemed to vibrate. Then silence, complete silence. The weights stopped moving. I stayed on the bench, afraid to step down. That's when the lights went out. Total darkness. Emergency lighting should have kicked in. It didn't. I couldn't see anything, not even my hand in front of my face. I heard breathing, not mine, someone else's, heavy and wet, getting closer. I screamed. I don't care if that makes me sound weak. I screamed like a little kid. The lights came back on. I was still on the bench, but the weights were back on the rack. Everything in its place, like nothing had happened. And the door, it was open, wide open. I ran. Didn't stop until I was outside, in the parking lot, in the sunlight. I never went back to that weight room. Told my parents I wanted to join a real gym. They said I was too young, so I stayed skinny through high school. Years later, I ran into my old gym teacher. I asked him about the weight room. He got this weird look. "Why do you ask?" I told him my story. He sighed. "You're not the first kid to have something happen down there." "What do you mean?" "Back in the 90s, a student died in that room." My blood went cold. "How?" "Dropped a barbell on his neck doing bench press alone. Nobody helped him. He was alone after hours, snuck in somehow. They found him the next morning." I thought about that figure behind me, standing there, watching me struggle. "Is that why you always told us to have a spotter?" I asked. He nodded. "That room has bad energy. Some say the kid never left." "You believe that?" "I don't work out down there anymore, let's put it that way. I'm 32 now. I go to a nice gym with lots of windows, lots of people, lots of exits, and I never, ever bench press without a spotter. The high school weight room. I'm 32 now, but I still can't walk into a gym without thinking about what happened when I was 16. Back in high school, I was skinny, really skinny, like 120 pounds soaking wet kind of skinny. All the other guys were getting bigger and stronger. I was still built like a middle schooler. So I started going to the school weight room after classes. Our high school had this old weight room in the basement. It used to be a bomb shelter in the 50s. They converted it in the 80s, put in some benches and squat racks. The ceiling was low. The air was always musty, and there was only one way in or out. I usually went around 5 p.m., after most kids had gone home, but before the janitors locked up at 7. This particular day was a Thursday in November. I remember because we just had a half day for parent-teacher conferences, so I got to the weight room earlier than usual, around 3:30. The place was empty. Perfect. I hated working out when other kids were around. They'd always stare at my pathetic attempts to bench press. I warmed up on the treadmill, did some stretches, then headed to the bench press. I loaded up the bar with my usual weight, 95 pounds. Not much, but it was heavy for me back then. I lay down on the bench, gripped the bar, lifted it off the rack, started my first set. That's when I heard the door, that heavy metal door that led to the stairs. It creaked open, then slammed shut. "Hello," I called out. No answer. I figured it was just another student, maybe someone shy like me. I continued my set. 5 reps, 6 reps, 7 reps. My arms were shaking. 8 reps. That's when I saw him, in the mirror on the wall. Someone was standing behind me, right behind the bench. I couldn't see his face, just a dark figure. I tried to rack the weight, but my arms gave out. The bar came down on my chest, not hard enough to hurt me, but I couldn't push it back up. I was pinned. "Hey, help," I said. The figure didn't move. "Please, I'm stuck." Still nothing. I turned my head to look directly at him. Nobody there. But in the mirror, He was still there, standing, watching. I panicked, used all my strength to roll the bar down my body. It hurt, left bruises on my ribs and stomach, but I got free. I jumped up and spun around. The weight room was empty. I looked at the mirror again. Nothing, just me, alone. My heart was racing. I grabbed my stuff to leave, but the door wouldn't open. I pulled and pulled. It was locked from the outside. That was impossible. The door didn't lock from the outside, only from the inside. I banged on it. Hey, someone let me out. My voice echoed in the small space. I checked my phone. No signal. Of course, we were in a basement. I went back to the main area. Maybe there was another way out. An emergency exit I'd never noticed. That's when I saw the weights moving. Not all of them, just the dumbbells on the rack. They were vibrating, rattling against each other, making this metallic humming sound. Then one fell, a 25-pounder, hit the rubber floor with a thud. Then another, and another. They weren't just falling, they were rolling towards me. I backed up against the wall. The dumbbells kept coming, more falling off the rack, all rolling in my direction, like magnets drawn to me. I climbed onto one of the benches. The weights surrounded it, formed a circle. The rattling got louder. The whole room seemed to vibrate. Then silence, complete silence. The weights stopped moving. I stayed on the bench, afraid to step down. That's when the lights went out. Total darkness. Emergency lighting should have kicked in. It didn't. I couldn't see anything, not even my hand in front of my face. I heard breathing, not mine, someone else's, heavy and wet, getting closer. I screamed. I don't care if that makes me sound weak. I screamed like a little kid. The lights came back on. I was still on the bench, but the weights were back on the rack. Everything in its place, like nothing had happened. And the door, it was open, wide open. I ran. Didn't stop until I was outside, in the parking lot, in the sunlight. I never went back to that weight room. Told my parents I wanted to join a real gym. They said I was too young, so I stayed skinny through high school. Years later, I ran into my old gym teacher. I asked him about the weight room. He got this weird look. Why do you ask? I told him my story. He sighed. You're not the first kid to have something happen down there. What do you mean? Back in the 90s, a student died in that room. My blood went cold. How? Dropped a barbell on his neck doing bench press alone. Nobody helped him. He was alone after hours, snuck in somehow. They found him the next morning. I thought about that figure behind me, standing there, watching me struggle. Is that why you always told us to have a spotter? I asked. He nodded. That room has bad energy. Some say the kid never left. You believe that? I don't work out down there anymore, let's put it that way. I'm 32 now. I go to a nice gym with lots of windows, lots of people, lots of exits, and I never, ever, bench press without a spotter. The 24-hour fitness teen night. I'm 28 now and I manage a restaurant. But when I was 17, I thought I was going to be a professional bodybuilder. I know that sounds stupid now, but back then I was obsessed. I had the posters on my wall, the protein shakes, the workout plans, everything. There was this 24-hour fitness in my town that did a teen night every Friday. From 9 p.m. to midnight, kids could work out for free. Parents loved it, kept us out of trouble. Most kids went to socialize. I went to train. This happened in February of my senior year. It was President's Day weekend, so we had Monday off from school. I decided to go extra hard that Friday night, really push myself. I got there right at 9. The place was packed, music blasting, kids everywhere. I found an empty squat rack in the back corner. Started loading plates. I was strong for my age. Could squat about 275. I was proud of that. I warmed up with just the bar, then added weight gradually. 135, 185, 225. I was feeling good, strong. I loaded up 275. My working weight. Got under the bar. Lifted it off the rack. The weight felt heavier than usual, but I started my set anyway. First rep went down fine. Second rep too. On the third rep I heard someone whisper, "Go deeper." I thought it was some kid critiquing my form. Ignored it. Fourth rep. Deeper. The voice was right in my ear. I racked the weight and turned around. Nobody there. Everyone was at least 20 feet away. I shook it off, got back under the bar, started another set. This time I went deeper, really deep. Ass to grass, as they say. The voice came back, deeper. I was already as low as I could go. My hips were below my knees, deeper. I tried to stand up, couldn't. My legs wouldn't respond. I was stuck at the bottom of the squat, 275 pounds on my back. Help, I grunted. The music was too loud. Nobody heard me. Help. My legs were shaking, burning. I tried to dump the weight, but the safety bars were set too low. I'd adjusted them wrong. The bar rolled forward onto my neck. I fell to my knees. The weight pushed me down. My face pressed against the rubber floor. I couldn't breathe. This is how I die, I thought. In a gym full of people, with stupid music playing. Then the weight was gone, lifted off me. I gasped for air, looked up. A guy was standing there, holding the barbell, with one hand, 275 pounds. One hand, like it weighed nothing. He set it back on the rack. I got to my feet. Thanks, man. He was gone, vanished. I looked around the gym. Nobody was even looking in my direction. It was like it never happened, but my neck was sore. My legs were shaking. It definitely happened. I left the squat rack, went to the locker room, splashed water on my face. In the mirror I could see red marks on my neck, from the bar. When I came back out, the gym was different. Fewer people, and the ones who were there, something was off about them. They moved weird, too stiff, like mannequins trying to exercise, going through the motions, but not quite right. I watched a guy on the bench press. The bar would go down, but not up, just down, over and over. His spotter wasn't helping, just standing there, smiling. A girl on the treadmill, running, but her feet weren't touching the belt, floating, just slightly. Nobody else seemed to notice. I rubbed my eyes, looked again. Everything was normal. People exercising normally. I was seeing things. Had to be. I decided to leave. But first I needed to use the bathroom. I went to the men's room. Empty. Good. I went to the sink, turned on the water. The lights flickered. In the mirror I saw someone behind me. The same guy who'd saved me, standing by the stalls. I turned around. Nobody. Looked back at the mirror. He was still there, getting closer. I kept turning back and forth. Mirror him. Real nothing. Mirror closer. Real empty. He was right behind me in the mirror now. I could see his face. It was wrong. Too many teeth. Eyes too big. Skin too tight. He reached out in the mirror. I felt cold hands on my shoulders. In real life. But I couldn't see them. Only felt them. Wheezing. I ran out of the bathroom. Through the gym. Past the front desk. Into the parking lot. I sat in my car for an hour, waiting for my hands to stop shaking. When I finally went home, I looked up the gym online. Wanted to leave a complaint or something. That's when I found the news article from 5 years earlier. Teen dies in weightlifting accident at local gym. I read the details. A 17-year-old kid, squatting alone. Safety bars set too low. Neck crushed by the barbell. They found him after closing. Too late. The article had a picture. It was grainy, but I could see his face. Too many teeth. Eyes too big. Skin too tight. I never went back to that gym. Never did teen night anywhere else either. I stopped wanting to be a bodybuilder. These days I do push-ups at home. Maybe some jogging. That's it. And whenever I see kids heading to the gym, especially Friday nights, I want to warn them. But what would I say? Be careful. Check your safety bars. And if someone offers to spot you, make sure they're really there. The summer swim team incident. I'm 30 now and I haven't been in a pool since I was 15. This is why. That summer I joined the community center swim team. My mom thought it would be good for me. Help me make friends. Get some exercise. Build confidence. The practices were every morning at 6 a.m. The pool opened to the public at 8. So we had it to ourselves. Just 10 kids and Coach Martinez. I wasn't very good, but I liked being in the water. The chlorine smell, the echo of voices off the walls, the way sound went muffled underwater. It was peaceful, until it wasn't. This was the last week of June. We were preparing for a meet. Coach had us doing laps, freestyle sprints. I was in lane 4, the middle lane. I pushed off the wall, started swimming. Halfway down the pool I felt something grab my ankle. I I kicked harder. Figured it was Jake messing with me. He was always playing pranks. But the grip got tighter. Pulled me down. I tried to surface. Couldn't. Whatever had my ankle was strong, dragging me deeper, which was impossible. The pool was only 5 feet deep in this section, but I kept sinking. Down, down, like the bottom had disappeared. I opened my eyes underwater. The chlorine stopped, but I could see. The pool floor was gone, just black water below, and something in the darkness, the shape, moving up towards me. I thrashed, kicked, fought. My lungs burned, needed air. The shape got clearer. It was a person, but wrong. Skin too white, like paper. Hair floating around their head, like seaweed. They smiled. Water rushed into my mouth. I was drowning. Then suddenly I was at the surface, gasping, coughing up water. Coach Martinez was holding me. What happened? You just stopped swimming? Something grabbed me. What? In the water something pulled me down. He looked concerned. There's nothing in the pool, Sarah. Check, please, just check. He had everyone get out. We stood on the deck shivering. Coach dove in, swam to where I'd been, went under, came back up. Nothing down there, but I knew what I felt, what I saw. The other kids whispered, thought I was crazy, or making it up for attention. I sat out the rest of practice, watched from the bleachers. That's when I noticed it. Lane 4, my lane. The water was different, darker, like a shadow under the surface. I mentioned it to Coach. He said it was just the lane lines, creating an optical illusion. But I watched that shadow, and I swear, it watched me back. The next day I tried to skip practice. My mom wouldn't let me. You made a commitment, so I went. But I refused to swim in lane 4. Coach put me in lane 1, by the wall, far from that shadow. Practice went fine, until the end. Coach had us doing relays, 4 kids per team. I was the anchor, last to go. My teammate touched the wall. I dove in. The second I hit the water, I knew something was wrong. It was too cold, as cold and thick, like swimming through jello. I couldn't move properly. My arms felt heavy. My legs wouldn't kick right. I looked down. The bottom of the pool was covered in dark shapes, bodies, dozens of them, all looking up at me, all reaching, their mouths open, like they were screaming, but no sound, just bubbles. I tried to swim back, to the wall, to safety, but my body wouldn't work. I was sinking again, down towards those reaching hands, those open mouths. Then I was in the air, on the pool deck, throwing up water, lots of water, more than should have been in my lungs. Black water, smelled wrong, like rot, like death. Coach was doing CPR. Other kids were crying. Someone said they called 911. I was okay though, conscious, breathing. But I wouldn't stop throwing up that black water. The paramedics came, took me to the hospital, ran tests, everything came back normal. They said it was a panic attack, maybe an allergic reaction to something in the pool. But I knew better. I never went back to swim team, never went to that pool again. But I did research, found old newspaper archives. In 1963, that community center was a different building, a public bathhouse. There was a fire. The pool room filled with smoke. 20 people drowned. They couldn't find the exit in the dark water. The city rebuilt the center in 1971. New building, new pool, same location, same lane for it, right where the most bodies were found. I'm 30 now. I take showers. That's it. No baths, no pools, no beaches, no lakes, nothing where I have to submerge myself. Because sometimes, when I close my eyes in the shower, I see them, all those reaching hands, all those open mouths, and I wonder, if I'd stayed in that water another second, would I have joined them, down there in the dark, forever? These 3 stories were shared at a support group for people with gym-related trauma. Yes, that's a real thing, more common than you'd think. Each person thought they were alone in their experience until they found others. The teenager in the weight room, the kid at teen night, the swimmer who saw too much. They're all adults now. They all found ways to stay fit that don't involve traditional gyms. Home workouts, hiking, yoga in well-lit studios with lots of windows. They've moved on with their lives, but they remember. And late at night when they pass by a gym or a pool, they speed up. They don't look in the windows. They know that some places hold on to things. Bad things. Things that wait in weight rooms and pools and mirrors. Things that are always looking for someone new to join them. Someone young. Someone alone. Someone who won't be missed right away. The phone thief at the gym. I started going to Powerflex Gym about 4 months ago. It's one of those big chain gyms that's open 24/7. You know the type. Lots of machines. Loud music. People taking selfies in the mirrors. I usually go late at night around 10 p.m. That's when it's less crowded and I can actually use the equipment without waiting. I'm not trying to impress anyone, just trying to get healthier, lose some weight, feel better about myself. I always use these Bluetooth earbuds when I work out, the wire-free kind that sync to your phone. Much better than the old wired ones that get tangled in everything. Sometimes I set my phone down on a machine while I go fill up my water bottle. When I get too far away, the earbuds start making this static noise. Then they disconnect completely. It's annoying, but I've gotten used to it. Last Tuesday night changed everything. It was around 11 p.m. and the gym was pretty empty. Maybe 6 or 7 people total. I was doing my usual routine. Started with cardio on the treadmill, then moved to the weight machines. I was on the chest press machine. You know, the one where you sit and push the handles forward. I put my phone in the little holder on top of the machine. Started my music, some old rock playlist I always use. Began my first set. Push, release, push, release. I was counting in my head. 9, 10. Then the music got staticky. That crackling sound like a bad radio signal. Then silence. My earbuds said, disconnected from device. I finished my last few reps and reached for my phone. My hand hit empty plastic. The holder was empty. My phone was gone. I stood up fast, looked around. Where did it go? Did it fall? I checked the floor. Nothing. I looked at the other people in the gym. There was a middle-aged woman on the elliptical. She had her own phone propped up watching something. There was an older man using free weights. He was focused on his form in the mirror. And there was this young guy, maybe 25 or so, sitting on a bike machine. But he wasn't pedaling. He was looking at his phone. Could that be my phone? I didn't want to accuse anyone, but I had to check. I walked over to him. He had earbuds in. Didn't notice me at first. I stood there awkwardly. Finally he looked up, pulled out one earbud. Yeah, he said. Not friendly, not mean, just flat. Hey, sorry to bother you, but did you see anyone near the chest press machine? He stared at me. No. You sure nobody walked by or anything? He shook his head, put his earbud back in, looked back at his phone. I wanted to ask to see the phone, make sure it wasn't mine, but I couldn't. What if I was wrong? I walked to the front desk. A bored-looking guy was scrolling on his computer. Excuse me, someone took my phone. He looked up. What? My phone? Someone stole it while I was working out. He sighed like this was a huge inconvenience. You sure you didn't just misplace it? I'm sure I put it right on the machine. Okay, let me check the cameras. He turned his monitor so I could see, clicked through some menus, found the right camera angle. There it was, the chest press machine, me doing my set. And there, walking behind me, the guy from the bike. He reached over, grabbed my phone, kept walking, smooth like he'd done it before. That's him, I said, pointing. The desk guy nodded. Yeah, I see it. He's still here on the bike. But when we looked over, the bike was empty. He must have just left, the desk guy said. I ran to the exit, pushed through the doors. The parking lot was huge. A few cars scattered around. No sign of him. I went back inside. Can you get his information, his membership? The desk guy checked. That's weird. What? I don't show him checking in tonight. What do you mean? Everyone has to scan their card to get in, but there's no record. He pulled up more footage. The entrance camera. We watched. The guy had walked in right behind another member. Slipped through before the door closed. Never scanned anything. So you don't know who he is? No, sorry. Can you call the police? I'll have to talk to my manager tomorrow. I left frustrated. No phone. No way to track it. And worst of all, I remembered something. Last week I turned off my passcode. The phone would open with just a swipe. I was too lazy to type in numbers every time. That meant he had access to everything. My emails, my texts, my banking app, my photos, everything. I drove home trying not to panic. Used my laptop to change all my passwords. Banking first, then email, social media, everything I could think of. The next morning I went to the phone store, got a new phone, same number. The worker asked if I wanted to track my old phone. I said yes, but it was already turned off. No signal. I spent the day calling friends and family, letting them know about the stolen phone, warning them about possible scam messages. That's when my friend Mike called me. He sounded scared. Dude, what the hell is going on? What do you mean? You've been texting me all night. No, I haven't, I just got my new phone. I have the messages right here. He came over to show me. The conversation started around 2 a.m. from my stolen phone. Hey Mike, you awake? Mike had responded, yeah, what's up? Having a rough night, can I crash at your place? Sure man, everything okay? Got in a fight with my roommate, just need somewhere to stay. No problem, when will you be here? Like an hour, is that cool? Yeah, I'll wait up. Then it got weird. Actually, can you do me a favor? What? Can you leave the side door unlocked? Why? I don't want to wake you if you fall asleep. I guess, but why not just knock? Please man, just leave it unlocked. Mike kept pushing back. The messages got more insistent, more aggressive, not like how I text at all. Finally Mike agreed, left his side door unlocked, went to bed. I felt sick reading this. Mike, please tell me nothing happened. His face went pale. I have security cameras. We went to his computer, pulled up the footage. 3:47 a.m. A figure approaching the side door. It was him, the guy from the gym. He tried the handle. It opened. He went inside Mike's house. The camera in the kitchen showed him moving around, opening drawers, taking things, small stuff, a watch from the counter, cash from a jar, some prescription bottles from a cabinet. He moved to the living room. More theft. Mike's laptop, his gaming console, even grabbed some shoes by the door. Then he went upstairs. Mike's bedroom camera showed the door opening. The guy stood in the doorway, just stood there, watching Mike sleep, for a full minute, maybe longer. Then he left, closed the door, went back downstairs, out the side door, gone. Mike was shaking. He was in my room. We need to call the cops. With what proof I let him in? You thought it was me? How do I explain that? We called anyway. 2 officers came, took our statements, watched the footage, said they'd investigate. That was 3 weeks ago. Haven't heard anything. Mike changed all his locks, installed more cameras, has trouble sleeping. I kept going to the gym. Different times though, never late at night. Always keep my phone in my pocket now. Switch to wired earbuds. Don't care if they're annoying. Last night I was there around 7 p.m. Plenty of people around. I was on the treadmill, warming up. I saw him, same guy, walking between the machines. That same casual walk, like he belonged there. He was wearing different clothes, baseball cap pulled low. But I knew it was him. The way he moved, the way he looked around. Hunting. I got off the treadmill, followed him, kept my distance. He stopped at the leg press machine. A girl was using it, college age, phone sitting right on top. She was mid-set, straining, eyes closed. He reached for her phone. I yelled, "H!" He froze, looked at me, recognized me, smiled. Actually smiled, then walked away, calm as anything. The girl looked confused. I tried to explain. She grabbed her phone, moved to a different machine, away from me, like I was the crazy one. I went to the front desk, different employee this time, told them about the thief. They said they'd watch for him, but I could tell they didn't care. I stayed another hour, didn't see him again, but I kept looking. Every person who walked by, every movement in my peripheral vision, made me tense. This morning I woke up to texts from numbers I didn't recognize. Nice to see you at the gym. You look different. Thanks for the phone. Mike has a nice house. See you soon. I blocked the numbers. More came. Different numbers. Same messages. I changed my number. The text stopped. For now. I know I should switch gyms. Maybe I will. But part of me wants to catch him. Wants him to pay for what he did. To me. To Mike. To whoever else he's done this to. Because I know we're not the first. Someone that smooth. That confident. He's done this before. Many times. I started researching. Found posts online. Similar stories. Phones stolen at gyms. Mysterious messages sent. Homes broken into. Always the same pattern. Never any arrest. I don't know his name. Don't know where he lives, but I know where he hunts, and maybe that's enough. Maybe one night, when he reaches for another phone, someone will be ready. Someone will stop him. Maybe it'll be me, maybe not. But I keep going back, keep watching, keep waiting. Because guys like him, they don't stop, they escalate. And next time, someone might not be as lucky as Mike. Next time, someone might not wake up. So I watch, and I wait, and I keep my phone in my pocket. Always. The man who stole my phone was never caught. Mike moved to a different city 2 months later. He said it wasn't because of the break-in, but I knew better. The gym never did anything about their security. I see posts online sometimes, people complaining about stolen phones at Powerflex. Same description. Young guy, baseball cap, confident walk. He's still out there, still hunting. I switched to a gym with better security, cameras everywhere, staff that actually pays attention. But sometimes late at night I think about him, wonder who he's watching, whose life he's about to invade. And I check my logs, double check, triple check. Because once someone has been in your digital life, in your friend's home, watching them sleep, you never really feel safe again. You just get better at pretending you do. The late night trainer. I work as a personal trainer at Elite Fitness downtown. Been doing it for 3 years now. The pay is decent and I like helping people reach their goals. Most of my clients prefer evening sessions after work, so I often stay late, sometimes until 11 p.m. or midnight. The gym officially closes at 10 p.m. on weekdays, but trainers have 24-hour access for cleaning equipment and planning sessions. Last month I had my worst experience since I started this job. It was a Wednesday night in November, cold outside, the kind of night where you just want to be home. But I had paperwork to finish, client assessments to write up. I stayed after my last client left at 9:30. The gym emptied out pretty quick after that. By 10:15 it was just me. The automatic lights shut off in sections to save power. Only the area where you're moving stays lit. I was at the desk in the trainer's office, typing on my laptop. That's when I heard the front door, the electronic beep when someone badges in. I checked the time, 10:47 p.m. Nobody else should be coming in this late. Maybe another trainer forgot something. I called out, "Hello, who's there?" No answer. I left the office and walked to the front. The reception area was dark. Emergency lighting only. Nobody at the desk. Nobody by the door. But I knew I heard it open. I turned on the main lights. The gym lit up bright white. All the equipment visible. Treadmills in perfect rows. Weight machines gleaming. Everything normal. Everything empty. I was about to go back to the office when I heard it. The sound of weights. That distinctive clink of metal on metal. Someone was using the dumbbells. The free weight area was around the corner. I walked over slowly. Hey, the gym's closed. The clinking stopped. I turned the corner. Nobody there. But the 30-pound dumbbells were on the floor. Not on the rack where they should be. Just sitting in the middle of the floor. I picked them up. Put them back. Must have been left by someone earlier. Though I could have sworn I checked that area already. I went back to the office. Sat down at my laptop. Started typing again. 5 minutes later. More sounds. This time from the cardio section. The whir of a treadmill starting up. I saved my work and went to look. Sure enough, treadmill number 7 was running. The belt moving. Speed set to 6.0. Like someone was jogging. But nobody was on it. I hit the stop button. The belt slowed to a halt. I looked around. This isn't funny. My voice echoed. If someone's here, you need to leave. Silence. I decided to do a full check of the gym. Every room. Every corner. Started with the men's locker room. Pushed open the door. Anyone in here? Checked every stall. Every shower. Empty. The women's locker room next. Knocked first. Then went in. Also empty. The group fitness room. Dark. The cycling studio. Dark. The pool area. Locked. I was alone. Had to be. Back to the office. But I couldn't focus. Every little sound made me jump. The hum of the vending machine. The tick of the clock. The buzz of the fluorescent lights. Around 11:30 I gave up. Started packing my stuff. That's when all the treadmills turned on. All of them. 20 machines. All running at different speeds. The noise was incredible. Like a stampede. I ran to the cardio area. Hit the emergency stop on the main power panel. Everything shut down. The sudden silence was worse than the noise. I stood there breathing hard, trying to make sense of it. Electrical malfunction. Had to be. Old building. Old wiring. Nothing else made sense. I grabbed my bag and headed for the exit. As I passed the weight area, I stopped. The dumbbells were on the floor again. Not just the 30s. All of them. Arranged in a pattern. A circle. With the heaviest weights in the middle. Working out to the lightest on the edge. Like someone had spent time organizing them. I backed away. Hit the light switches. Headed for the door. My badge beeped. The door clicked. I pushed. It didn't open. I pulled. Nothing. The magnetic lock wasn't releasing. I badged again. Beep. Click. But the door stayed locked. I tried the side exit. Same thing. The emergency exit. An alarm would sound, but I didn't care. Pushed the bar. Nothing. The door wouldn't budge. Like something was blocking it from outside. I was trapped. I pulled out my phone to call someone. No signal. We were in a dead zone. Needed Wi-Fi for calls. But the Wi-Fi was down. Of course, I went back to the office. The landline. Pick it up. No dial tone. Everything was failing at once. That's when the lights went out. All of them. Even the emergency lighting. Pure darkness. I turned on my phone flashlight. The beam seemed weak in the vast space. I made my way to the front desk. There had to be a manual override for the doors. Behind the desk. Feeling around. Found the button. Pressed it. Nothing. Pressed it again. Still nothing. A crash from the weight room. Loud. Like a barbell dropped from height. Then another. And another. Rhythmic. Like someone doing deadlifts. I stayed behind the desk. Crouched down. Listening. The crashes got louder. Closer. They were moving. Coming towards the front. I turned off my phone light. Held my breath. The crashes stopped right in front of the desk. Silence. Then breathing. Heavy breathing. Like someone who just finished a hard set. But wrong somehow. Too wet. Too deep. I stayed perfectly still. The breathing continued. Right on the other side of the desk. Inches away. Then footsteps. Moving away. Back towards the weight room. I waited. Counted to 100. Turned my light back on. Stood up. The front area was trashed. Equipment thrown around. Benches flipped. Weights scattered. And on the mirror behind the desk, written in what looked like sweaty handprints, "Stay." I ran to the window. The big one that faces the street. Started banging on it. Screaming for help. Car drove by. Didn't stop. Another. Didn't even slow down. Could they not see me? Or was something blocking their view? I grabbed a 45-pound plate. Threw it at the window. It bounced off. Didn't even crack. I threw it again. Nothing. The window was reinforced. Shatterproof. The lights came back on. Sudden and bright. I blinked. Looked around. Everything was normal. Equipment in place. Weights on racks. Mirror clean. Like nothing had happened. And the front door. It was open. Wide open. I didn't wait. Didn't question it. I ran. Out the door. To my car. Drove home. Didn't look back. The next day I called in sick. And the day after. On the third day my boss called. "Where have you been?" "I've been sick." "No, I mean where have you been? We have you on camera." "What?" "The security footage shows you here every night." "That's impossible." "Tom, I'm looking at it right now. You're here until 3 a.m. each night." "I haven't been back since Wednesday." "Today is Thursday." "No, today is Saturday." "Tom, are you okay?" I hung up. Checked my phone. He was right. It was Thursday. I lost 2 days. 2 full days. Gone. I quit that afternoon. Over the phone. Didn't go back for my things. They mailed them to me. Found a new job. Different field. Nothing to do with fitness. But sometimes, late at night, I dream I'm back there. In the dark. Behind that desk. And I hear the breathing. Feel the presence. And I know. Part of me never left. Part of me is still there. Crouched in the dark. Waiting. Forever. The late night trainer. I work as a personal trainer at Elite Fitness downtown. Been doing it for 3 years now. The pay is decent and I like helping people reach their goals. Most of my clients prefer evening sessions after work, so I often stay late. Sometimes until 11 p.m. or midnight. The gym officially closes at 10 p.m. on weekdays, but trainers have 24-hour access for cleaning equipment and planning sessions. Last month I had my worst experience since I started this job. It was a Wednesday night in November, cold outside, the kind of night where you just want to be home. But I had paperwork to finish, client assessments to write up. I stayed after my last client left at 9:30. The gym emptied out pretty quick after that. By 10:15 it was just me. The automatic lights shut off in sections to save power. Only the area where you're moving stays lit. I was at the desk in the trainer's office, typing on my laptop. That's when I heard the front door, the electronic beep when someone badges in. I checked the time, 10:47 p.m. Nobody else should be coming in this late. Maybe another trainer forgot something. I called out, "Hello, who's there?" No answer. I left the office and walked to the front. The reception area was dark. Emergency lighting only. Nobody at the desk. Nobody by the door. But I knew I heard it open. I turned on the main lights. The gym lit up bright white. All the equipment visible. Treadmills in perfect rows. Weight machines gleaming. Everything normal. Everything empty. I was about to go back to the office when I heard it. The sound of weights. That distinctive clink of metal on metal. Someone was using the dumbbells. The free weight area was around the corner. I walked over slowly. Hey, the gym's closed. The clinking stopped. I turned the corner. Nobody there. But the 30-pound dumbbells were on the floor. Not on the rack where they should be. Just sitting in the middle of the floor. I picked them up. Put them back. Must have been left by someone earlier. Though I could have sworn I checked that area already. I went back to the office. Sat down at my laptop. Started typing again. 5 minutes later. More sounds. This time from the cardio section. The whir of a treadmill starting up. I saved my work and went to look. Sure enough, treadmill number 7 was running. The belt moving. Speed set to 6.0. Like someone was jogging. But nobody was on it. I hit the stop button. The belt slowed to a halt. I looked around. This isn't funny. My voice echoed. If someone's here, you need to leave. Silence. I decided to do a full check of the gym. Every room. Every corner. Started with the men's locker room. Pushed open the door. Anyone in here? Checked every stall. Every shower. Empty. The women's locker room next. Knocked first. Then went in. Also empty. The group fitness room. Dark. The cycling studio. Dark. The pool area. Locked. I was alone. Had to be. Back to the office. But I couldn't focus. Every little sound made me jump. The hum of the vending machine. The tick of the clock. The buzz of the fluorescent lights. Around 11:30 I gave up. Started packing my stuff. That's when all the treadmills turned on. All of them. 20 machines. All running at different speeds. The noise was incredible. Like a stampede. I ran to the cardio area. Hit the emergency stop on the main power panel. Everything shut down. The sudden silence was worse than the noise. I stood there breathing hard, trying to make sense of it. Electrical malfunction. Had to be. Old building. Old wiring. Nothing else made sense. I grabbed my bag and headed for the exit. As I passed the weight area, I stopped. The dumbbells were on the floor again. Not just the 30s. All of them. Arranged in a pattern. A circle. With the heaviest weights in the middle. Working out to the lightest on the edge. Like someone had spent time organizing them. I backed away. Hit the light switches. Headed for the door. My badge beeped. The door clicked. I pushed. It didn't open. I pulled. Nothing. The magnetic lock wasn't releasing. I badged again. Beep. Click. But the door stayed locked. I tried the side exit. Same thing. The emergency exit. An alarm would sound, but I didn't care. Pushed the bar. Nothing. The door wouldn't budge. Like something was blocking it from outside. I was trapped. I pulled out my phone to call someone. No signal. We were in a dead zone. Needed Wi-Fi for calls. But the Wi-Fi was down. Of course, I went back to the office. The landline. Pick it up. No dial tone. Everything was failing at once. That's when the lights went out. All of them. Even the emergency lighting. Pure darkness. I turned on my phone flashlight. The beam seemed weak in the vast space. I made my way to the front desk. There had to be a manual override for the doors. Behind the desk. Feeling around. Found the button. Pressed it. Nothing. Pressed it again. Still nothing. A crash from the weight room. Loud. Like a barbell dropped from height. Then another. and another, rhythmic, like someone doing deadlifts. I stayed behind the desk, crouched down, listening. The crashes got louder, closer. They were moving, coming towards the front. I turned off my phone light, held my breath. The crashes stopped right in front of the desk. Silence, then breathing, heavy breathing, like someone who just finished a hard set, but wrong somehow. Too wet, too deep. I stayed perfectly still. The breathing continued, right on the other side of the desk, inches away. Then footsteps, moving away, back towards the weight room. I waited, counted to 100, turned my light back on, stood up. The front area was trashed, equipment thrown around, benches flipped, weight scattered, and on the mirror behind the desk, written in what looked like sweaty handprints, "Stay." I ran to the window, the big one that faces the street, started banging on it, screaming for help. A car drove by, didn't stop. Another, didn't even slow down. Could they not see me? Or was something blocking their view? I grabbed a 45-pound plate, threw it at the window. It bounced off, didn't even crack. I threw it again. Nothing. The window was reinforced, shatterproof. The lights came back on, sudden and bright. I blinked, looked around. Everything was normal. Equipment in place, weights on racks, mirror clean, like nothing had happened. In the front door, it was open, wide open. I didn't wait, didn't question it. I ran, out the door, to my car, drove home, didn't look back. The next day I called in sick, and the day after. On the third day my boss called. "Where have you been?" "I've been sick." "No, I mean where have you been? We have you on camera." "What?" "The security footage shows you here every night." "That's impossible." "Tom, I'm looking at it right now. You're here until 3 a.m. each night." "I haven't been back since Wednesday." "Today is Thursday." "No, today is Saturday." "Tom, are you okay?" I hung up, checked my phone. He was right. It was Thursday. I'd lost 2 days, 2 full days. Gone. I quit that afternoon, over the phone. Didn't go back for my things. They mailed them to me. Found a new job, different field, nothing to do with fitness. But sometimes, late at night, I dream I'm back there, in the dark, behind that desk, and I hear the breathing, feel the presence, and I know, part of me never left. Part of me is still there, crouched in the dark, waiting, forever. The overnight cleaner. I used to clean gyms for a living. Not glamorous work, but it paid the bills. The company I worked for had contracts with several gyms. I'd go in after closing, mop the floors, wipe down equipment, empty trash, restock supplies, simple stuff. My favorite was CrossFit Apex, small gym, usually done in 2 hours. I'd go there last, around 2 a.m. Save the easy job for when I was tired. This happened on a Thursday in January. Freezing cold outside. Roads were icy. I almost called out. Wish I had. I got to Apex at 2:15 a.m. Used my key to get in. Turned on half the lights. No need to light up the whole place. Started my routine. Bathrooms first, then the main floor. I was mopping near the pull-up rig when I heard voices. Muffled, like people talking in another room. I stopped mopping. Listened. Definitely voices. Coming from the office. But the office was locked when I arrived. Always was. I walked over quietly. Put my ear to the door. The voices were clearer now. 2 people. Maybe 3. Having a conversation. But I couldn't make out words. Just tone. Serious. Urgent. I knocked. "Hello, maintenance here." The voices stopped. Complete silence. I tried the handle. Still locked. "Is someone in there?" Nothing. I went back to mopping. Figured the manager left a radio on, or a computer playing a video. 10 minutes later, the voices started again, louder this time, and not from the office, from the workout floor, right where I'd just been mopping. I turned around, nobody there, but the voices continued. Now I could hear them clearly. 5 more reps. "You got this. Push through. Don't quit." Coaching cues, like during a workout. But there was nobody to coach. I stood there holding my mop, watching empty air, listening to phantom encouragement. Then the equipment started moving. The rowing machines, all 6 of them. The handles pulling back and forth, the seats sliding, the fans spinning, like invisible people were using them. The monitors even turned on, showing distance, calories, split times. I backed against the wall. This wasn't possible. Machines don't move by themselves. But they kept going. Faster now. Racing pace. The voices got louder. 30 seconds left. Sprint it out. Empty the tank. Then all at once, everything stopped. Handles stopped pulling. Seats stopped sliding. Monitors went dark. Silence. I grabbed my supplies. Headed for the door. I was done. Job wasn't worth this. As I reached the exit, the barbells started moving. On the platforms. Rising up. Floating. Then dropping. Bang. The sound echoed. Another barbell rose. Drop. Bang. Then another. Soon all 6 platforms. Barbells rising and falling. Different heights. Different timing. Like a workout in progress. An invisible class. I fumbled with my keys. Hands shaking. Got the door open. Cold air hit my face. I'd never been so happy to feel freezing wind. I threw my supplies in the van. Started to drive away. But something made me look back. Through the windows. I could see them. Not clearly. Just shapes. Outlines. Human forms. Working out. Dozens of them. More than the gym could hold. Overlapping. Occupying the same space. Different times. Different people. All there at once. And in the office window. Face pressed against the glass. Mouth open. Eyes wide. Watching me. I floored it. Drove straight home. Called my supervisor. Quit on the spot. He asked why. I couldn't explain. What would I say? The gym is haunted. Ghosts are doing CrossFit. He'd think I was drunk. Or crazy. Maybe I was. I looked up the gym's history. Nothing unusual. No deaths. No tragedies. Just a normal gym. But I found something else. Online forums. Other cleaners. Similar stories. Always late at night. Always when alone. Equipment moving. Voices coaching. Invisible athletes. And always that face in the window. Watching. One cleaner posted security footage. Grainy. Hard to see. But there. In the background. Shapes moving. Barbells floating. Just like I saw. The thread was deleted the next day. But I'd seen enough. Some places hold energy. Sweat. Effort. Bang. Determination. All the hours people spend pushing themselves. Maybe it builds up. Maybe it creates something. An echo. A recording. Playing on loop. Or maybe those people never left. Part of them stayed. Still working out. Still pushing. Still suffering. Forever. I clean offices now. Nice quiet offices. Nobody exercising. Nobody grunting. Nobody dropping weights. Just desks and computers. Safe. Boring. Perfect. But sometimes, when I'm mopping a hallway, I hear it. Faint. Distant. One more rep. And I move a little faster. Finish a little sooner. Get out a little quicker. Because I know, somewhere, in some gym, at 2 a.m., they're still there. Still working out. Still watching. Waiting for someone to see them. Someone like me. Someone alone. Someone who will understand. They're never leaving. And if you stay too long, neither will you. The pool maintenance tech. I've been servicing pools for 8 years. Started when I was 20. Good money, especially for someone without a degree. I do residential mostly, but I have a few commercial accounts. Hotels, apartments, and one gym. Aqua Fitness on the south side. They have a pool and hot tub. I go twice a week, usually early morning, 5 a.m. Before they open at 6. Check chemicals, clean filters, skim debris, basic maintenance. What happened last month made me drop them as a client. It was a Monday. I got there at my usual time, 5 a.m. sharp. Let myself in the side door. The pool area was separate from the main gym. Had its own entrance, own ventilation system. The lights were on motion sensors. They clicked on as I walked in. The pool looked normal. Still water. Clear blue. Steam rising slightly in the cool air. I set down my supplies. Took my first water sample. That's when I noticed the hot tub. It was bubbling. Jets on full. But it shouldn't be. The timer was set to turn on at 5:45. 15 minutes before opening. I walked over to check. The control panel showed it was off. But I could see the jets running. Hear the motor humming. Feel the vibration through the deck. I hit the manual shut-off. Nothing changed. Tried again. Still bubbling. I went to the equipment room. checked the breakers. Everything looked fine, but the hot tub kept running. I decided to deal with it later. Went back to the pool, started skimming leaves. The pool was indoor, but somehow leaves always got in. Tracked in on shoes, blown in when doors opened. As I worked, I heard a splash, small, like someone testing the water with their foot. I looked around, nobody there, door still locked. I was alone. Went back to skimming. Another splash, bigger, like someone getting in. I turned quickly, caught a ripple on the far end, moving across the surface, but no one was there. I walked to that end, looked down into the water. Nothing, just blue tile bottom, clear water. My own reflection staring back. I was being paranoid. Old building, pipes settling, water movement from the filtration. Nothing more. I went to test the hot tub water. Had to lean over since I couldn't turn it off. As I dipped my test tube, something grabbed my wrist. Cold fingers, strong grip, pulling me down. I yanked back hard, fell on my ass, scrambled away from the edge. My wrist was red, finger marks visible, but there was nobody in the hot tub, just bubbling water. Empty. I grabbed my phone, started recording. Evidence, proof I wasn't crazy. Held it up to film the hot tub. Through the screen I saw her, a woman, sitting in the water, long dark hair, pale skin, eyes that weren't quite right, too wide, too dark, looking right at me. I dropped the phone, looked with my own eyes, nobody there. Picked up the phone, she was still on screen, closer now, standing in the hot tub, water up to her waist, smiling, but not a good smile. Too many teeth, lips too wide. I backed away, kept filming. She climbed out of the hot tub, on screen only. In real life, just water dripping on empty deck. She walked towards me, slow, deliberate, leaving wet footprints that I could actually see, not just on camera. Real wet footprints, following nothing. I ran for the door. Behind me, footsteps, wet slapping on tile, getting faster. I hit the door hard, pushed the bar. It opened, thank God. I burst outside, into the parking lot. Dawn just starting, sky getting light. I looked back, the door swung shut. Through the window I could see the pool area, lights still on, everything normal, except on the glass, from the inside, a wet handprint, slowly sliding down. I got in my truck, drove away, left all my equipment, never went back. The gym called. That's what happened. I made up a family emergency. They asked when I'd be back. I said I'd found someone to cover for me. I hadn't, but I would. Anyone. Someone who didn't know. Someone who wouldn't believe until they saw for themselves. I found out later. 3 different pool guys before me. All quit suddenly. No explanation. The gym thinks it's the early hours. The pay. The chemicals. They don't know. About the woman in the water. The one you can only see through a screen. The one who leaves real footprints. The one who tries to pull you in. I looked up deaths at the gym. Nothing official. But I found an old forum post. From 2008. A woman. Early morning swimmer. Alone. Heart attack, they said. Drowned in the hot tub. Found when the gym opened. Been dead for hours. The description matched. Long dark hair. Regular swimmer. Always first one there. Waiting when they opened. Until one day, they gave her a key. Let her swim early. Before hours. Alone. Just her in the water. Until it killed her. Or she killed herself. Nobody knows for sure. But she never left. Still there. Every morning. Waiting in the water. For someone to join her. Someone alone. Someone with a key. Someone like me. I don't do pools anymore. Just residential plumbing. No chemicals. No water testing. No early mornings. But sometimes I dream about her. In that hot tub. Smiling. Waiting. And in the dream, I can't look away. Can't run. Can't scream. Just stand there. As she rises from the water. Walks across the deck. Wet footprints marking her path. Until she reaches me. Puts cold fingers on my wrist. And pulls. I wake up gasping. Sheets soaked with sweat. Check my wrist. The marks are still there. 8 years later. Still there. 5 pale lines. Where she grabbed me. Where she marked me. Where she almost won. I know one day, the dreams will stop. The marks will fade. I'll forget. get comfortable, maybe even go back to pools. And that's when she'll get me. When I'm not watching, not ready, not scared anymore. That's when I'll hear the splash, feel the grip. And this time, I won't get away. This time, I'll join her. In the water, in the dark, forever. These 3 stories came from different people in different cities. A trainer in New York, a cleaner in Chicago, a pool tech in Phoenix. They've never met, never spoke, but their experiences share common threads. Gyms that come alive after dark, equipment that moves without users, presences that watch and wait and want. They all quit their jobs, found safer work, daytime work, but the memories remain, the fear remains. And late at night, when they pass a gym, see the lights on inside, glimpse movement through the windows, they know someone's in there, someone living, someone dead, someone caught between. And they drive a little faster, lock their doors a little tighter, and pray they never have to go back. Because some places hold more than memories, some places hold souls, and some souls are always looking for company. The locker room whispers. The women's locker room at Riverside Fitness whispered secrets that were never meant to be heard. Hannah Clark first noticed the voices on a rainy Thursday evening in October. She had stayed late at the gym to avoid the usual after-work crowd. The locker room was empty except for the soft hum of ventilation fans. Hannah was changing out of her workout clothes when she heard it, a faint whispering sound coming from somewhere near the back lockers. She paused, listening carefully, but the words were too soft to understand. Hannah assumed it was just pipes settling or air moving through the vents. But as she gathered her things, the whispers grew slightly louder. They sounded like women's voices, multiple conversations happening at once. Hannah walked toward the sound, her bare feet silent on the tile floor. The whispers seemed to be coming from locker number 47. It was an old metal locker with a combination lock, painted institutional green. Hannah pressed her ear against the cold metal door and listened. The voices were clearer now, definitely women talking in hushed tones. But the words still didn't make complete sense, like half-heard conversations. She tried the handle, but the locker was securely locked. Hannah told herself she was being silly and finished getting dressed. But she couldn't stop thinking about those mysterious voices. The next evening, she returned to the gym with a curious mind. She completed her usual workout routine, but kept thinking about locker 47. When the locker room emptied out around 8 p.m., Hannah approached the locker again. The whispers started immediately, as if they had been waiting for her. This time, she could make out fragments of actual sentences. "She doesn't know yet," one voice said softly. "Poor thing, she has no idea what's coming," replied another. "We tried to warn the others, but they never listened," added a third. Hannah's heart began beating faster as she realized the voices were talking about someone. Someone who didn't know something important, someone in danger. She looked around the empty locker room, wondering if they meant her. Hannah tried to speak to the voices, feeling foolish but desperate for answers. "Who are you talking about?" she whispered to the locker door. The voices immediately fell silent, as if she had interrupted something private. After a long moment, one voice spoke directly to her. Hannah Clark, 28 years old, accounting manager at Peterson and Associates. Hannah stepped back in shock, her hands trembling slightly. How could voices in a locker know her name and personal information? "We know because we've been watching," the voice continued gently. "We watch everyone who comes here, especially the women who stay late. We try to protect them when we can," added another voice. Hannah realized she was talking to something supernatural, but she wasn't afraid. The voices sounded sad rather than threatening, lonely rather than evil. "Who are you?" Hannah asked, leaning closer to the locker. "We are the forgotten ones," came the reply. "Women who used this locker room years ago, before the renovation. We died here, and our spirits remain trapped in this space." Hannah learned that Riverside Fitness had been built on an old apartment building site. The building had burned down in 1979, killing several young women. They had been trapped in the basement laundry room during the fire. When the new gym was constructed, their spirits had attached to locker 47. It had been their favorite washing machine in the old laundry room. "We've been trying to warn women about the dangers here," one spirit explained. "There are men who watch through hidden cameras in the shower area. The night janitor has keys to all the lockers and goes through personal belongings. The water in the hot tub contains chemicals that cause skin problems. Hannah was horrified to learn about these violations of privacy and safety. But she was also touched by the spirit's desire to protect other women. "Why don't you appear to people instead of just whispering?" Hannah asked. "We tried that at first, but it only scared them away," came the sad reply. "Women would see us and never return to the gym. We learned that whispers work better, people think it's their own intuition." Hannah understood that these spirits had become guardian angels of sorts. They used their ethereal presence to warn women of real dangers. Over the following weeks, Hannah returned regularly to talk with the spirits. She learned their names: Patricia, Susan, Linda, and Mary. They had been friends in life, sharing the basement laundry while chatting about their days. In death, they continued their friendship while protecting others. Hannah began acting on their warnings, helping fellow gym members stay safe. When they told her about the hidden cameras, she reported it to management. The cameras were found and removed, and the responsible employee was fired. When they warned about the janitor, Hannah installed a small security camera. She caught him going through women's purses and reported him to police. The contaminated hot tub was drained and properly cleaned after Hannah's anonymous tip. Each time Hannah helped solve a problem, the spirits grew stronger and clearer. Their whispers became more like normal conversation. Hannah realized that helping others was healing their trapped souls. They had died feeling helpless and afraid during the fire. Now they were finding peace by protecting women from harm. But Hannah also learned that not everyone appreciated the spirit's help. Some gym members complained about strange sounds in the locker room. Management hired an exterminator, thinking the sounds were from mice or insects. When that didn't work, they brought in someone to sage the space. Hannah watched sadly as the cleansing ritual weakened her spirit friends. Their voices became faint again, harder to hear and understand. She realized that the gym was trying to remove the very beings who made it safer. Hannah decided she had to take action to protect the protective spirits. She researched the history of the apartment building fire extensively. She found old newspaper articles and contacted surviving family members. Hannah learned that the 4 women had been volunteer firefighters' wives. They had dedicated their lives to helping others, even in their final moments. Armed with this information, Hannah approached the gym management. She explained the true history of the site and the spirit's protective role. At first, the managers thought she was crazy or making things up, but Hannah showed them the evidence of all the problems the spirits had helped solve. The hidden cameras, the dishonest janitor, the contaminated hot tub, all discovered through information that came from the mysterious whispers. Gradually, the management began to understand the value of their ghostly guardians. They stopped trying to cleanse the locker room and instead honored the spirits. A small plaque was installed near locker 47. It read, "In memory of Patricia, Susan, Linda, and Mary, guardians of this space." The spirits were so moved by this recognition that they appeared to Hannah one final time. They looked like ordinary women from the late 70s, smiling and peaceful. "Thank you for believing in us," Patricia said with tears in her ghostly eyes. "You helped us find our purpose again," added Susan gratefully. "We can rest now knowing this place is truly safe," Linda whispered. "But we'll always be here if we're needed," Mary promised softly. The spirits faded away, finally at peace after decades of restless protection. But their presence remained in the locker room, a gentle guardian energy. Women who used the space often reported feeling unusually safe and comfortable there. They described a sense of sisterhood and protection that was hard to explain. Hannah continued using Riverside Fitness, but now as a sort of unofficial guardian herself. She listened for any new whispers and watched for signs of danger. She helped create a buddy system for women exercising alone at night. She organized self-defense classes and safety awareness meetings. The locker room became known as the safest space in the city for women. New members were told about the protective energy and the history. Most people found it comforting rather than frightening to know they were watched over. Hannah never heard the whispers again, but she felt their presence daily. Sometimes she would touch locker 47 and whisper her own thanks for teaching her that protection can come from the most unexpected places, and that the voices of women, even in death, deserve to be heard and honored. The women's locker room at Riverside Fitness still holds its secrets, but now they are secrets of safety, sisterhood, and supernatural protection. Hannah made sure of that, one whispered warning at a time. The midnight workout. The security cameras at Goldstein's Fitness Center recorded Sarah Miller's death at exactly 3:17 a.m., but nobody could explain why the footage showed her running from something that wasn't there. Sarah had been the night janitor at the old gym on Maple Street for only 3 weeks when she discovered that some places never truly close, and some members never really leave. The building used to be a hospital back in the 1940s, though most people in the small Connecticut town had forgotten that detail, forgotten about the morgue that once occupied the basement where the weight room now stood. Sarah first noticed something was wrong on a Tuesday night when she heard the steady rhythm of footsteps on the treadmill in the cardio section, even though she had just finished checking that all the machines were turned off. She walked slowly toward the sound, her sneakers squeaking softly on the polished floor, and found the display screen glowing on treadmill number 7, showing that someone had been running for 43 minutes at exactly 6.2 miles per hour. The emergency stop cord swayed gently as if someone had just stepped off. But the cardio room was empty, filled only with the blue glow of the exit sign and the faint smell of sweat that never quite left the place. Sarah unplugged the machine and made a note to tell Gary, the day manager, that treadmill 7 was acting up again, though this was the 3rd time this week she'd found it running by itself. The next night, she arrived at 11 p.m. sharp, using her key card to enter through the employee entrance, and immediately noticed that the lights in the free weight section were on, casting long shadows across the rubber floor mats. She grabbed her cleaning cart and headed toward the lights, calling out, "Hello?" Gym's closed, but received no answer except for the hum of the ventilation system. As she rounded the corner, she saw the 45-pound plates scattered across the floor near the squat rack, arranged in an almost perfect circle, and in the center sat a water bottle she didn't recognize, still cold with condensation beating on its surface. Sarah picked up the bottle and noticed the name Thompson M. written on it in black marker, which made her pause because she remembered Gary mentioning that they'd had a member named Michael Thompson who had died of a heart attack in this very room 6 months ago. She quickly cleaned up the weights, trying to ignore the way her hands shook as she racked them, and decided to check the member database on the computer at the front desk. The old PC took forever to boot up, and as she waited, she heard it again, the sound of running footsteps from the cardio room, that same steady pace that never seemed to tire. This time she didn't investigate, instead focusing on the computer screen as she searched for Michael Thompson's membership information, finding his profile still active with a note attached. Deceased March 15th, do not delete PR family request. The photograph showed a fit man in his early 40s with kind eyes and salt and pepper hair, wearing the same style of tank top she'd seen draped over the bench press earlier that evening. Sarah's throat felt dry as she read that Michael had been training for a marathon when he died, running exactly 6.2 miles per hour on treadmill 7 when his heart gave out. She closed the database and grabbed her phone, thinking about calling Gary, but what would she say, that she was scared of some coincidences and strange noises in an old building? Instead, she returned to her routine, mopping the yoga studio where the mirrors reflected her nervous movements infinitely into the darkness. As she worked, she began to notice other things. The shower in the men's locker room that turned on by itself, always the 3rd stall, running hot water for exactly 8 minutes before shutting off. The sound of weights clanking in the basement weight room, always between 2 and 3 a.m., following the pattern of someone doing 3 sets of 12 reps. The protein shake blender in the juice bar that would work to life, mixing nothing but air, creating the ghost of a post-workout smoothie. By the end of her first week, Sarah had developed a routine of her own, learning to work around the gym's phantom member, avoiding the cardio room during his run, staying clear of the free weights during his lifting session. She even started leaving a fresh towel on the bench by treadmill 7, which would be neatly folded and moved to the used bin by morning. Her co-workers never mentioned finding the towel, and Sarah never asked, creating an unspoken agreement between the living and whatever remained. But everything changed on the night she found the note, written on a piece of gym stationery and tucked under the windshield wiper of her car. "Please help me finish." The handwriting was shaky, desperate, and when she compared it to the signature on Michael Thompson's membership form, it was a perfect match. That night, she entered the gym with a different purpose, walking straight to the cardio room where treadmill 7 was already running, the display showing 26 miles completed, just 0.2 miles short of a full marathon. She understood then what he needed, what kept him running night after night, never able to cross that final finish line. Sarah had never been much of a runner, but she laced up her sneakers and stepped onto treadmill 8 beside the empty running 7, matching the pace of 6.2 miles per hour. Her legs protested and her lungs burned, but she kept going, watching as the display on treadmill 7 counted up. 26.1, 26.15, 26.18. As they approached 26.2 miles together, she felt a presence beside her, caught a glimpse of movement in her peripheral vision, and heard a voice whisper, "Thank you," just as both treadmills hit the marathon mark simultaneously. The machines powered down together, and the gym fell into a peaceful silence she had never experienced before. The next morning, Gary found her asleep in the break room and gently woke her, asking if everything was all right. Sarah nodded and handed in her 2 weeks' notice, explaining that she had decided to train for a marathon and needed to adjust her schedule. Gary smiled and offered her a discounted membership, which she accepted, though she always avoided treadmill 7, which had mysteriously stopped malfunctioning after that night. The strange occurrences in the gym gradually decreased, though members would occasionally report feeling encouraged during difficult sets, as if someone was spotting them or finding their water bottles refilled when they weren't looking. Sarah completed her first marathon 6 months later, running it in Michael Thompson's memory, wearing a small pin with his initials that his widow had given her after she reached out to share the story. But she never told anyone the whole truth about that night, about how she had looked in the mirror after finishing those 0.2 miles and seen Michael standing behind her, no longer trapped in his endless run but finally at peace. She kept that secret, along with the knowledge that sometimes the dead just need someone to help them finish what they started. The gym on Maple Street still operates today, and late-night members sometimes report feeling an encouraging presence during their workouts, especially on treadmill 7, which now bears a small plaque reading in memory of Michael Thompson, "May every run find its finish." Sarah still works out there, always in the early morning now, and occasionally she'll see fresh flowers placed beneath the plaque, though no one ever admits to leaving them. The security cameras never catch who does it, but Sarah knows that some mysteries are better left unsolved, and some spirits are better left at peace. She learned that night that gyms aren't just places where we build our bodies, but sometimes they're where broken spirits come to heal, running through the darkness until someone helps them find the light. And in the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is still asleep and the gym is empty except for the echoes of past ambitions, you might still hear the faint sound of footsteps on treadmill 7, not running from something anymore but finally running free. The third stall. The automatic lights in the women's bathroom at Peak Performance Gym hadn't worked properly since Jessica Walsh died in the third stall. Nobody talked about it anymore, but everyone knew. The members learned quickly to use the bathroom on the second floor instead, even when there was a line, even when they really had to go. Emma Rodriguez didn't know any of this when she started her membership on a cold Monday in October. She was new to Portland, new to the gym, new to everything. The welcome tour had been quick. Too quick. The perky staff member had walked her past the first floor bathroom without stopping, without explaining. "There's another one upstairs," she'd said, already moving toward the weight room. Emma didn't think much of it at the time. She was too excited about the pool, the classes, the fresh start. It was Thursday evening when it happened. 8:47 p.m. according to her phone. The gym was busy but not packed. Emma had just finished a spin class, drenched in sweat. Her water bottle was empty. Her bladder was full. The stairs to the second floor looked impossibly far. The first floor bathroom door was right there, just 10 steps away. She pushed open the door. The hinges creaked. The sound echoed off the white tiles. The automatic lights didn't turn on, but there was enough light from the hallway, enough to see. Emma felt for the manual switch. Found it. Flicked it up. Nothing. "Great," she muttered, but she really had to go. The light from the hallway would have to do. She walked past the first stall. The door was slightly open. Past the second stall. Also open. The third stall door was closed. Locked. She could see feet underneath. Black sneakers. Gray socks. Someone was in there. Silent. Completely still. Emma chose the fourth stall. Closed the door. Sat down. That's when she heard it. Breathing. Slow. Labored. Coming from the third stall. "Are you okay?" Emma asked. The breathing stopped. Silence. Complete silence. Even the distant music from the gym seemed to fade. Emma hurried. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. She flushed. Opened her stall door. The feet were gone. The third stall door was now open. Wide open. Empty. Emma washed her hands quickly. The mirror above the sink was cracked. When had that happened? In the reflection she saw something move. Behind her, in the third stall, a shadow, standing, swaying. She spun around. Nothing there, just the empty stall. But the air was cold, so cold she could see her breath. Emma ran for the door, pulled the handle. It didn't budge. Locked. How was it locked from the inside? She pulled harder. Behind her, a toilet flushed. The third stall. But no one was there. No one she could see. The faucet turned on. Water splashing into the sink. The one she just used. Steam rose from the hot water. The mirror fogged up. And in the fog, someone was writing. Letters appearing one by one. Emma screamed. Pounded on the door. Let me out. Someone help. Footsteps behind her. Wet footsteps. Like someone had just stepped out of the shower. Getting closer. She turned around. A woman stood by the sinks. Well, dripping wet. Wearing gym clothes. But they were wrong. Old-fashioned. From another time. Please, the woman whispered. Her voice was like water gurgling down a drain. Please help me. What do you want? Emma's voice shook. The woman pointed to the third stall. I can't leave. Why? He won't let me. Who? The light suddenly blazed on. Blinding white. Emma blinked. The woman was gone. The door clicked. Unlocked. Emma yanked it open and ran. Straight to the front desk. The bathroom, she gasped. There's someone, something. The staff member's face went pale. The first floor bathroom? Emma nodded. You saw her? Who is she? The staff member looked around nervously. Leaned in close. Jessica Walsh. She died 2 years ago. How? Heart condition. She collapsed in the third stall. But she said he won't let her leave. The staff member's face went even paler. There's more to the story. Tell me. Jessica was being stalked. A guy from the gym. Emma felt sick. He followed her everywhere. Watched her work out. What happened to him? Nothing. The police couldn't prove anything. He still comes here? Every night. Same time Jessica used to. Emma checked her phone. 8:47 p.m. He's here now. The staff member nodded toward the free weights. Red shirt. Doing bicep curls. Emma looked. A man in a red shirt was watching them. Smiling. When he saw Emma looking, he winked. Then walked toward the men's locker room. Right next to the first floor women's bathroom. Jessica appears when he's here, the staff member whispered. Still trying to escape him. Even in death. Emma's membership card shook in her hand. I want to cancel. I understand. As Emma left, she looked back one more time. The man in the red shirt stood by the bathroom door. Waiting. Always waiting. And in the window's reflection, she could see her. Jessica. Trapped forever in the third stall. Forever running. Forever hiding. From a man who wouldn't let her go. Even death wasn't far enough. Emma drove home in silence. Deleted the gym app from her phone. Tried to forget. But some nights she still dreams about it. The third stall. The wet footprints. The message in the steam. And she wonders if Jessica is still there. Still asking for help. Still running from a monster. Who looks just like a man. The Peak Performance Gym is still open. The first floor bathroom lights still don't work. The third stall still has an out of order sign now. But sometimes late at night members hear crying. Soft sobbing from behind that closed door. And footsteps. Running. Always running. But never getting away. They say if you look closely at the mirror. Right at 8:47 p.m. You can see two reflections. One desperate. One watching. Forever locked in a terrible dance. The gym offers a discount now. For anyone brave enough to work out after 8 p.m. Not many take them up on it. The red shirt man still comes. Every night. Same routine. Same smile. He always walks past that bathroom. Slowly. Deliberately. Like he's checking. Making sure. She's still there. Still his. Forever. The new members don't know. They wonder why the bathroom door has 3 locks now. Why the security cameras don't cover that hallway. Why the janitors clean every bathroom. Except that one. Emma moved across the country 6 months later. But she still can't use public bathrooms. Still checks for feet under stall doors. Still runs when the lights won't turn on. Because she knows something others don't. Some prisons aren't made of bars. Some are made of fear. And some souls never find peace. They just run. Forever. In the third stall. At the peak performance gym. Where the lights never work. And freedom is just 3 feet away. But might as well be 3,000 miles. Because he's always watching. Always waiting. Always there. And death wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. Of an eternal nightmare. In the third stall. Where Jessica Walsh still runs. And no one can help her. No one at all. The deep end. The chlorine couldn't mask the smell of death in the Riverside Athletic Club's pool. But only certain people could detect it. The sensitive ones. The ones who shouldn't be swimming alone. Marcus Bennett was one of those people. He just didn't know it yet. It was November when he joined the gym. A Tuesday. Gray clouds hung low over Seattle. The city was drowning in its typical autumn rain. Marcus had moved here for a fresh start. New job. New apartment. New life. Away from the memories that haunted him in Chicago. Away from the accident. The one nobody talked about anymore. The one that wasn't really an accident. But Marcus didn't want to think about that. He wanted to swim. Swimming had always cleared his mind. The repetitive strokes. The muffled silence underwater. The burn in his lungs. It made everything else disappear. The Riverside Athletic Club was old. Built in 1952. The realtor had mentioned it as a selling point. Classic architecture, she'd said. They don't make them like this anymore. She was right about that. They didn't make them with basement pools anymore. 3 floors underground. No windows. Just artificial light bouncing off the water. The tour guide, a young woman named Ashley, seemed nervous when they reached the pool level. Her smile faltered. Just for a moment. The pool is Olympic-sized, she said. Her voice echoed off the tiles. Heated to 78 degrees. Lap swimming is best early morning or late evening. When it's less crowded. Marcus looked around. The pool was empty. Completely empty. At 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Not very busy today, he observed. Ashley's laugh was forced. People prefer the newer pool upstairs. This one is mainly for serious swimmers. The dedicated ones. Something in her tone made Marcus look at her. Really look. She was staring at the deep end. The 12-foot section. Where the water was darker. Almost black. Is there something wrong with this pool? Ashley shook her head quickly. Too quickly. No. It's perfectly safe. Just, some members find it too quiet down here. Too isolated. Marcus liked quiet. He liked isolated. Perfect, he said. Ashley's smile looked painful now. Great. Let me show you the locker rooms. She walked fast. Like she couldn't wait to leave. Marcus noticed she stayed far from the pool's edge. Never got within 3 feet of the water. Strange. The men's locker room was vintage. Original tiles. Those small white hexagons that were popular in the 50s. Some were cracked. Some were missing. Replaced with squares that didn't quite match. Lockers are first come, first served, Ashley explained. Except for 237. Why not 237? It's broken. Marcus looked at locker 237. It looked fine to him. Better than fine. It looked new. Freshly painted. With a new combination lock hanging from it. Doesn't look broken. Ashley was already backing toward the door. Trust me. Use any other locker. I'll let you get changed. Welcome to Riverside. She was gone before Marcus could respond. He heard her heels clicking rapidly up the stairs. Almost running. Marcus chose locker 189. Far from 237. Just in case. He changed into his swim trunks. Grabbed his goggles. His towel. Headed for the pool. The chlorine smell was stronger now. But underneath it, something else. Something organic. Like lake water. Or algae. But the pool looked crystal clear. Marcus sat on the edge. Let his feet dangle in the water. It was warm. Inviting. He slipped in. The water embraced him. Familiar. Comforting. He pushed off from the wall. Started his freestyle stroke. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. The rhythm took over. His mind began to quiet. The memories faded. Just him and the water. Perfect. He swam for 30 minutes. Steady laps. Back and forth. Not pushing hard. Just moving. When he finally stopped, treading water in the center, he realized something. The pool room was completely silent. No ventilation hum. No water filters. No distant voices from upstairs. Nothing. Just his own breathing. And the gentle lap of water against the tiles. He floated on his back, stared up at the ceiling. Old acoustic tiles. Water stained in places. One stain looked like a face. Mouth open. Screaming. Marcus blinked. Just a water stain. His imagination was playing tricks. He swam to the ladder. Climbed out. His footsteps echoed wetly on the deck. That's when he noticed the wet footprints, leading from the deep end to the locker room. Fresh prints. But he'd been alone, hadn't he? Marcus followed the prints. They led to the men's locker room door. Pushed inside. The prints continued, right to locker 237. The broken locker. It was open now. Wide open. Inside. Nothing. Just empty space. And that smell again. Stronger. Lake water. Decay. Marcus backed away. Grabbed his towel from his locker. Changed quickly. Didn't shower. Just wanted to leave. As he headed for the stairs, he heard it. A splash. From the pool. A big splash. Like someone jumping in. Or falling. He paused at the door. Looked back through the small window. The pool was still. Mirror smooth. No ripples. No waves. Nothing. Marcus climbed the stairs 2 at a time. The main floor of the gym felt different. Brighter. Louder. Alive. Normal people doing normal things. He went to the front desk. A different employee was there. An older man named Frank. "How was your swim?" Frank asked. "Fine. But I have a question." "Shoot." "Was someone else swimming down there?" Frank's expression changed. Became guarded. "In the basement pool?" "Yes." "What time?" "Just now. Last half hour." Frank checked his computer. Typed something. Frowned. "No one else checked in for the basement pool today. You were alone. I saw wet footprints, leading to locker 237. Frank went very still. 237? Yes, the broken one. Frank leaned forward, lowered his voice. "Listen, kid. Stay away from 237. Why? Just do it." "But why? What happened?" Frank looked around. The gym was busy. No one paying attention to them. "Not here. You really want to know?" Marcus nodded. "My shift ends at 5. Meet me at the coffee shop across the street. Pete's place." Marcus agreed. He spent the next hour in the weight room, trying not to think about the footprints, the open locker, the splash with no ripples. At 5:15 he sat across from Frank at Pete's, 2 coffees between them, steam rising like ghosts. "How long you been swimming?" Frank asked. "Since I was 6. Competitive. High school. College. Almost made Olympic trials." "What stopped you?" Marcus tensed. "Injury." It wasn't true, but it was easier than the real story. Frank studied him. "You're a water person. What does that mean?" "Some people are drawn to water. Can't stay away. It calls to them. And sometimes they answer." "You're not making sense." Frank sipped his coffee. "Tell me, when you swim, do you ever feel like you're not alone? Like the water is watching?" Marcus's hand trembled slightly. He set down his cup. "Sometimes. That's what I thought." "What does this have to do with locker 237? Frank pulled out his phone, scrolled through photos, found one, slid it across the table. A newspaper clipping. "Local man drowns in gym pool." The date was 3 years ago. Marcus read quickly. David Chin, 34, drowned during early morning lap swim. No witnesses. Security footage showed him entering alone at 5 a.m. Found at 7 a.m. by staff. "Tragic accident," Marcus said. "Keep reading." Marcus read the follow-up articles. David Chin had been an experienced swimmer. No health conditions. No drugs or alcohol in his system. The security footage was inconclusive. What does that mean? Inconclusive. Frank took his phone back. The cameras showed him swimming normally. Then he went underwater at the 12-foot mark and never came back up. He drowned. It happens. For 6 minutes he was underwater. Not moving. Not struggling. Just floating at the bottom. Then the cameras glitched. Static for 30 seconds. When they came back, he was floating face down. Dead. Marcus felt cold despite the warm coffee shop. Equipment malfunction. That's what everyone said. But I saw the original footage. Before they edited it. What did you see? Frank leaned closer. His voice dropped to a whisper. Hands? What? Hands reaching up from the drain. Holding him down. That's impossible. Is it? Frank pulled up another photo. Another article. Jennifer Martinez. 2 years ago. Same pool. Same depth. Same time of morning. Drowned. Another article. Robert Kim. Last year. Same circumstances. Always at the 12-foot mark. Always early morning or late evening. Always alone. 3 drownings in 3 years, Marcus said. In a supervised facility. Why hasn't the pool been closed? It was for a month after each death. But the owners have lawyers. And the deaths were ruled accidental. No negligence found. But you don't think they were accidental. I know they weren't. How? Frank finished his coffee. Because I knew David Chin. He used locker 237. Jennifer Martinez? Also 237. Robert Kim? Take a guess. 237. Every time someone uses that locker, they don't come back. Marcus thought about the wet footprints, the open locker, the skin crawled. Who opened it today? That's the thing, Frank said. No one did. It opens itself sometimes. When it's hunting. Hunting. Looking for the next water person. Someone who belongs in the deep. You're trying to scare me. I'm trying to save you. Stay away from the basement pool. Use the one upstairs. It's smaller, but it's safe. Marcus stood up. Thanks for the coffee. And the ghost stories. They're not stories, kid. Just be careful. If you have to use that pool, never swim alone. Never use locker 237. And never ever go near the 12-foot mark. What? What's at the 12-foot mark? Frank stood too. Put on his coat. That's where they built it over the old well. What? This whole neighborhood used to be marshland. Natural springs everywhere. When they built the gym, they found a well. Deep. Really deep. They couldn't fill it properly. So they just capped it and poured the pool over it. You're joking. I wish I was. Sometimes on quiet nights, you can hear it down there. Water moving that shouldn't be moving. Coming from below. Frank left money on the table. One more thing. What? David Chin wasn't the first. What do you mean? Check the newspaper archives. 1952 to now. Count the drownings. How many? 27. In 70 years? All at the 12-foot mark. All between 5 and 7 a.m. or 9 and 11 p.m. All strong swimmers. All alone. Frank headed for the door. Paused. Looked back. All of them were water people. Just like you. Then he was gone. Leaving Marcus with a cold coffee. And a colder fear. He went home. Tried to forget the conversation. Ordered takeout. Watched mindless TV. But his mind kept returning to the pool. The perfect stillness. The silence. The peace. By 9 p.m. he couldn't resist. He packed his gym bag. Don't go, his rational mind said. Use the upstairs pool. Be smart. But the basement pool called to him. Frank was right about that. He was a water person. Always had been. The gym was quieter at night. Most people preferred morning workouts. Marcus used his key card. Headed straight down. Past the first floor. Past the second. Down to the basement. The pool room door was propped open. Strange. It was usually closed. He pushed inside. The lights were dim. Half of them turned off. Energy-saving mode. The pool glowed eerily in the half-light. Like a portal. To somewhere else. Someone was already swimming. Marcus could see the figure cutting through the water. Strong strokes. Rhythmic. A serious swimmer. Good. He wouldn't be alone. He changed quickly. Noticed locker 237 was closed again. Locked tight. Good. He entered the pool area. The other swimmer was in the far lane. Moving fast. Too fast to talk. Marcus chose a lane 3 spaces over. Slipped into the water. It felt different at night. Heavier. Darker. Like swimming in ink. He started his laps. Tried to find his rhythm. But something was off. The water resisted him. Pulled at him. Made each stroke harder. He powered through. One length, two, three. On the fourth length, approaching the deep end, he felt it. A current from below, pulling him down. He fought it, kicked harder, made it to the wall, grabbed the edge, breathing hard. The other swimmer passed him, face down in the water. Perfect form, but something was wrong. The stroke was too mechanical, too precise, like a machine, not a person. Marcus watched the swimmer reach the shallow end, execute a perfect flip turn, head back. As the figure passed under the lights, Marcus saw clearly. The skin was gray, bloated, like it had been in water too long, much too long. Marcus scrambled out of the pool, heart hammering. The swimmer continued, back and forth, never stopping for air, never lifting their head, because they didn't need to breathe, not anymore. Marcus backed toward the locker room, eyes fixed on the swimmer, on the impossible swimmer. His foot hit something wet. He looked down, footprints, leading from the pool, but not his footprints. These were different, wider, wet, like something that lived in water, had always lived in water. The trail led to the locker room, to locker 237, which was open again, wide open, and inside, Marcus stepped closer. He had to see, had to know. The locker wasn't empty this time. Swim goggles, 3 pairs, different styles, different sizes, each with a name written on the strap. David Shin, Jennifer Martinez, Robert Kim, and below them on the bench, a 4th pair. No, waiting, with a piece of tape already attached. Marcus Bennett, his name, his goggles, but he was wearing his goggles. He touched his face to make sure. Yes, still there. So whose were these? A splash echoed from the pool. Loud, violent. Marcus spun around. The mechanical swimmer was gone. The pool was empty, except at the 12-foot mark, right in the center. The water was moving, swirling, like a drain had opened, a whirlpool forming, growing larger, deeper, darker. And from the center of the vortex, hands, dozens of hands, reaching up, grasping, beckoning. Come back, they seemed to say. Come swim with us, forever. Marcus ran, out of the locker room, up the stairs, taking them 3 at a time. Behind him he heard water, sloshing, following, impossible amounts of water, flooding up the stairwell. He burst through the main floor door, slammed it behind him, leaned against it, gasping. The night janitor looked at him strangely. You okay, man? Marcus looked down. He was soaking wet, dripping on the clean floor. The pool? What about it? It's flooding. The basement is flooding. The janitor frowned. I was just down there an hour ago. Everything was fine. No, look, I'll show you. Marcus opened the door to the basement stairs. They were dry, completely dry, not a drop of water. You sure you're feeling okay? The janitor asked. Maybe you pushed too hard in your workout. Marcus stared at the dry stairs. Yeah, maybe. He went back to the locker room upstairs, showered, changed, tried to make sense of what he'd seen. Hallucinations? Exhaustion? Frank's stories getting to him? But the goggles? His name on the tape? He'd seen that. He was sure. When he got home, he did what Frank suggested. Researched the newspaper archives. Riverside Athletic Club. Drownings. The results made his blood run cold. 27 deaths, just like Frank said. But Frank had missed something, or hidden it. The deaths came in patterns. Every few years, a cluster. 3 or 4 in quick succession. Then nothing for a decade or more. Then another cluster. The most recent cluster started 3 years ago. David Shin, Jennifer Martinez, Robert Kim. 3 down. But the pattern suggested 4. Always 4. Then a long gap, like something fed, got satisfied, went dormant, until it got hungry again. Marcus was supposed to be number 4, the final meal. He stayed away from the gym for a week, tried other pools around the city, but they felt wrong. Too crowded, too noisy, too alive. He missed the basement pool, the silence, the solitude, the darkness, like an addiction, calling him back. Frank called on day 8. Heard you haven't been in. Taking a break. Good. Smart. But you want to come back. It wasn't a question. Yes. They always do. The water people. Can't stay away. What am I supposed to do? Move? Find another gym? Break the connection? I just moved here. New job. New apartment. I can't leave. Frank sighed. Then stay out of the basement. Use the upstairs pool. It's not the same. No. It's safe. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant. The basement pool is perfect, isn't it? Everything you want. Everything you need. Yes. That's how it works. It knows what you want. Gives it to you. Right up until it takes you. Marcus hung up. But Frank's words echoed. It knows what you want. Because he did want it. The pull. The silence. The depth. Even knowing what he knew. He still wanted it. 2 more days passed. The need grew stronger. Like withdrawal. His skin felt dry. His body ached. He dreamed of water. Deep dark water. Welcoming him home. On the 10th night he broke. Packed his bag. Drove to the gym. It was 10:30 p.m. 30 minutes before closing. The basement would be empty. It always was this late. Except for the ones who never left. He badged in. The night staff barely looked up. Down the stairs he went. Each step heavier than the last. Like descending into a dream. Or a nightmare. The pool room door was open. Waiting. The lights were off completely now. Only the underwater lights glowed. Making the pool look like a giant eye. Watching. Waiting. Hungry. Marcus changed in darkness. His hands knew the way. Locker 189. As usual. He didn't look at 237. Didn't want to know if it was open. He walked to the pool's edge. The water was different now. Not clear. Murky. Like lake water. Or older water. From deep places. Ancient places. He sat on the edge. Feet in the water. It was cold. Much colder than usual. But it felt right. Like coming home. He slipped in. The cold shocked his system. But only for a moment. Then warmth spread through him. Not from the water. From inside. Like his body remembered something. Something from before. Long before. He swam toward the deep end. Each stroke easier than the last. The water helping him. Guiding him. Calling him. At the 12-foot mark he stopped. Floated. Waiting. The water began to move. Slowly at first. Then faster. The whirlpool forming beneath him. He didn't fight it. Couldn't fight it. Didn't want to. Down he went. Into the spiral. The pool lights faded above. Darkness swallowed him. But there was light below. Different light. Older. Coming from the depths. He saw them then. The others. All 27. Swimming in eternal circles. Around and around the light. Their faces peaceful. Their strokes perfect. Forever swimming. Forever home. They welcomed him. Arms reaching up. Not to pull him down. To embrace him. To make him one of them. Part of the eternal swim. The endless rhythm. The perfect silence. This is what you wanted, they said without words. This is what you've always wanted. To swim forever. To never leave the water. To be the water. And God help him, they were right. This was what he wanted. What he'd always wanted. Ever since, the memory surfaced. Clear as the day it happened. He was 8 years old. At the lake with his family. His younger sister, Emma. 6 years old. Afraid of the water. Come on, he'd said. Don't be a baby. I'll teach you. He'd pulled her in. Deeper than she could stand. Let go for just a moment. To force her to swim. But she didn't swim. She sank. By the time he realized. By the time he dove down. By the time he found her. Too late. Always too late. The adults pulled her out. Tried CPR. Called the ambulance. But Marcus knew. Had known the moment he saw her face underwater. Eyes open. Accusing. You did this. You killed me. The family never blamed him. Not out loud. But he saw it in their eyes. Heard it in their silence. Felt it in the distance that grew between them. So he swam. Every day. Punishing himself. Purifying himself. Trying to wash away the guilt. But water remembers. Water always remembers. And now it was calling in the dead. One life for another. The hands reached closer. Marcus didn't resist. This was justice. This was right. This was... No. A voice from above. A splash. Someone diving in. Strong arms grabbed him. Pulled him up. Away from the light. Away from the others. Away from the peace. He fought, tried to go back down, but the arms were stronger, dragging him up. Breaking the surface, Marcus gasped, coughed up water, dark water, old water. Frank was there, in the pool, fully clothed, pulling him to the edge. "I knew you'd come back," Frank gasped. "They always do. Had to stop you. Had to break the cycle." He hauled Marcus out. Both of them collapsed on the deck, breathing hard. The pool behind them was calm, clear, normal, like nothing had happened. "How?" Marcus asked. "How did you know?" "I watch the cameras. Every night when someone's down here, especially the water people." "Why?" "Because I couldn't save David. He was my nephew. I was working that morning. Saw him come in. Thought nothing of him. Until it was too late." Frank stood, helped Marcus up. "Come on. Let's get out of here." They went to the locker room. 237 was closed. Locked. Normal. Marcus changed with shaking hands. Frank waited, watching the door, like a guardian. As they left, Marcus looked back. The pool lay still, innocent, inviting, but he could feel them down there, waiting, patient, eternal. "Will it ever stop?" he asked. "The drownings?" Frank shook his head. "Not as long as the pool exists. Not as long as the well is open. Can't they fill it? Close it properly?" They've tried. 3 times over the years. Each time the construction workers quit. Said they heard voices from below. Said the water fought back. Flooded the whole basement. So they leave it. Let it feed every few years. Sacrifice a few to save many. That's horrible. That's business. They reached the main floor. The normal world. But Marcus knew now. There was nothing normal about this place. Nothing normal about any place. The darkness was always there. Just below the surface. Waiting. Hungry. Patient. "What do I do now?" Marcus asked. "You live. You stay away from water for a while. All water. Let the connection fade. And then you find a new pool. A safe pool. And you swim. But you never forget. Never let your guard down. Because water remembers. And it's patient. Very patient." Marcus left the gym that night. Canceled his membership the next day. Found a new gym across town. With a rooftop pool. Lots of windows. Lots of light. Lots of people. He swam there. But it wasn't the same. Would never be the same. Because Frank was right. He was a water person. And water people are always listening. For the call of the deep. The song of the darkness. The whisper that says, "Come home. Come back to the silence. Come back to the peace. Come back to us. We're waiting. We'll always be waiting. In the deep end. Where the light fades. And the water remembers. Everything." 6 months passed. Marcus stayed strong. Swam in bright pools. Safe pools. Crowded pools. But late at night, he dreamed of the basement. The perfect stillness. The welcoming darkness. The others swimming their eternal laps. Around and around. Forever. He started driving past Riverside. Just to look. Never going in. Just remembering. The pull grew stronger. Like gravity. Like love. Like home. Frank called occasionally. Checking in. Making sure. "Still swimming safe?" he'd ask. "Yes," Marcus would answer. But they both knew. It was only a matter of time. Water people always returned to the deep. Always. A year after that night, Marcus got the call. Frank had died. Heart attack. At the gym. In the basement. By the pool. They found him on the deck. Fully clothed. Like he'd been watching someone swim. But the pool was empty. The funeral was small. Family. A few friends from the gym. Marcus went. Paid his respects. Frank's sister pulled him aside after. "He left something for you. An envelope. Inside a key. And a note. Someone needs to watch. Someone who understands. Someone who can resist. The job is yours if you want it. Night security. Good pay. One requirement. Keep them from taking the fourth. Break the cycle. Save who you can. The water remembers. But so do we." Frank. Marcus held the key. Felt its weight. Knew what it meant. What it would cost. To go back there. Every night. To watch the pool. to guard against the darkness, to save the water people from themselves. He thought of David Chin, Jennifer Martinez, Robert Kim. 3 lives lost, because no one was watching, no one who understood. He thought of his sister, Emma, 6 years old, forever 6, forever accusing. Maybe this was penance, maybe this was purpose, maybe this was just another trap. The water calling him back, using his guilt, his need to save others, because he couldn't save her. But trap or not, someone had to watch, someone had to guard the deep, someone had to break the cycle. Marcus took the job, started the next Monday. Night security, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., the dangerous hours, when the water people came, drawn by dreams, called by the deep. He set up his station, multiple monitors showing every angle, the pool, the locker rooms, the stairs, and most importantly, the 12-foot mark, where the well opened to elsewhere. His first night, nothing happened. The pool sat empty, silent, waiting. The second night, a woman came, 2 a.m., alone. She moved like a swimmer, graceful, confident, a water person. Marcus watched her change, watched her enter the pool area, watched her dive in. Perfect form. She swam well, strong strokes, steady rhythm. But as she approached the deep end, the water began to change, darken, swirl. Marcus grabbed his radio. "Ma'am, pool's closing for maintenance." His voice echoed through the speakers. She stopped, looked up at the camera, confused. "Please exit the pool immediately." She did, reluctantly, angrily, but she left, and lived. One save. The third night, 2 came. College students, drunk. Thought it would be fun to sneak into the basement pool. Marcus let them swim. They weren't water people. The pool had no interest in them. They splashed around for 20 minutes, got bored. Well, the pool only wanted certain people. The ones who belonged to the water, who heard its call, who couldn't resist. By the end of the first month, Marcus had saved 6. All water people, all drawn to the deep, all angry when he made them leave, but alive. That's what mattered. The pool grew restless, hungry, the water darker each night, the pull stronger. Even Marcus felt it, sitting in his office, watching the monitors. I'll convert this into a line-by-line format for you. The urge to go down, to strip off his uniform, to dive in, to let the water take him, to join Emma, finally, after all these years. But he resisted. That's why Frank chose him. Not despite his guilt. Because of it. The guilt was armor. The pain was protection. He couldn't save Emma, but he could save others. One by one, night by night, breaking the cycle, starving the well. The second month was harder. The water people came in groups now. 3, 4, sometimes more. All with the same look, the same graceful movements, the same pull toward the deep. Marcus developed strategies. Chemical leak in the pool area. Maintenance emergency. Health department closure. Anything to get them out, to save them from themselves. Some nights he had to get physical. Pull them from the water. Drag them to the stairs. They fought him. Clawed. Bit. Screamed. But once they were out of the basement, away from the pool, the spell broke. They'd blink, confused, apologetic. No memory of coming here. No idea why they were wet. Marcus would call them caps, send them home, add another tally to his saves. 23 by the third month. The pool was furious. The water boiled without heat. Whirlpools formed spontaneously. The lights flickered. The walls groaned. And in the deep end, shadows moved. Things that weren't quite human anymore. The ones who made it past 12 feet. The ones the well had taken. They wanted out. Wanted to trade places. Needed new people to take their positions. To complete the cycle. But Marcus wouldn't let them. He installed new locks, better cameras, motion sensors, emergency drainage systems. Anything to keep people out. To break the pattern. The entity below grew desperate. Started sending dreams, visions, promises. Marcus saw Emma nightly now. Not accusing, beckoning. Come swim with me, Marcus. The water's warm. I'm not angry anymore. I miss you. Just one swim. What could it hurt? But he knew better. The Emma in his dreams wasn't Emma. It was the thing below. using her face, her voice, her memory. The real Emma was gone, had been gone for 20 years. This was just bait, a lure, a trap. He kept watching, kept saving, kept refusing. Month 4, 37 saves. The water people stopped coming. For 3 weeks, nothing. The pool sat empty, silent, too silent. Marcus knew it was planning something, gathering strength, preparing. He didn't know what, but he stayed ready, checked every system twice, tested every alarm. And then, April 3rd, 3:33 a.m., they all came at once. Every water person in the city, maybe beyond, dozens of them, moving in perfect synchronization. Like a school of fish, they broke the doors, overwhelmed the locks, flooded into the pool area. Marcus hit every alarm, triggered every failsafe, called 911, but they kept coming, diving into the water, swimming toward the deep, toward the 12-foot mark, where the well waited, hungry, ready. One more and the cycle would complete. One more and it could rise. Marcus did the only thing he could. He hit the emergency drain, the one he'd installed without permission, the one that violated every code, but would empty the pool in minutes. The water people screamed as the water dropped, thrashed, tried to swim deeper, but there was nowhere to go. The pool emptied, left them flopping on the concrete, gasping, confused, the spell broken. Marcus helped them up, one by one, led them out, explained there'd been a chemical spill, dangerous fumes. They needed to leave for their safety. They went, dazed, soaking, but alive, all of them. The last one was a young woman, maybe 17. She looked at Marcus as he helped her up, really looked at him. "You saved us," she said. Not a question, a statement. "From what?" Marcus asked. She shivered. "I don't know, but in my dreams, there was something down there, something hungry, something that wanted to trade places, and I was going to let it." She left. Marcus stood alone in the empty pool, looking down at the drain, at the 12-foot mark. The concrete was cracked there, spider webbing out in all directions, and in the cracks, darkness, endless, moving. The well was still there, would always be there, but for now it was beaten, starved, denied its fourth sacrifice, the cycle broken. Marcus heard sirens approaching, police, fire department, his boss. There would be questions, investigations. He'd probably lose his job, maybe face charges, but it was worth it. 43 souls saved, the pattern disrupted, the entity contained. For now, he walked up the stairs, into the dawn light. For the first time in 20 years, Emma wasn't waiting in his dreams that morning. Not the fake Emma, not the thing wearing her face. Just peace, just quiet, just the knowledge that he'd finally done what he couldn't do then. He'd saved them. He'd beaten the water. He'd broken the cycle. The pool was filled with concrete a week later. The gym shut down. The building condemned. But Marcus knew it wasn't over. The well was still down there, waiting, patient. It would find another way, another pool, another pattern. That's why he kept Frank's key, why he watched the water wherever he went. Public pools, private clubs, beaches, lakes, anywhere people swam, anywhere the deep called, because someone had to watch, someone who understood, someone who could resist, someone who remembered what lurked in the dark water, waiting to trade places, waiting to rise, waiting for the fourth, always waiting. But Marcus would be waiting too, guardian of the deep, breaker of cycles, protector of water people, who couldn't protect themselves, from what called to them, from what they truly were, from the darkness below, that never stopped hunger, never stopped calling, never stopped waiting, for the fourth.